Send stars to show your support. Siri_bot has joined Cerebro Love. Artextric is now live. Streaming just chatting, drawing anime draw with me anime art studies reactions number 13. Bot Rix has correctly joined the channel. Artextric is now live. Streaming VTuber, drawing anime draw with me anime art studies reactions number 13. Hi.
Hello. Okay guys, I'm not gonna be on long since it took me forever to get on. So we're gonna do only 4 videos and that's it. We're gonna keep it really short, so I'm gonna just do this really fast because I don't have time. Let's see. Okay, so the whole point of this is that we're going to let's see, we're gonna clean this up, make this fast. So the hair's going this way, so the hair's going, this doesn't make much sense here. So what I'm gonna do is grab this part, grab this part, and then what we can do is hold on. So different. Okay, it's about. Okay, about here. All right. Now what we're gonna do is delete this part, and then what we'll do is fix this part. So if the hair's going this way, what I'll do is delete this part. Maybe no. What I can do is grab this part, delete that, and then what we'll do is make the hair. So what I'm gonna do is just grab this. Alright, hello. Kind of like a rush now. Yeah, she looks fine. No, it goes. Hello. Okay. Thank you, I appreciate it, Digimon. Guys, come over here on YouTube and Twitch. Doing well. Well, kind of annoying because I just got on. So you guys come over here on Twitch and YouTube. I need. We're gonna do the podcast like right now. So we're gonna do. We're just doing 4 videos. There's only 4. We're doing only 4 videos today. That's it. I didn't mean to get on so late. That's why I'm having a family over. Okay, like this, and then. No, they're going well. We need to grab this, pull it down. Like that. Like this. Okay, like that. I think that's a bit better. We can go fast. Maybe erase this part. I would say back when you guys said okay. Okay, so come over here, guys, on YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to start the thing after this stream. Hey y'all, hey Sunshine, what's going on? How's life going? It's going pretty well. It's aw, I understand. I understand. Okay, I'll back that, clean this off, and then we'll erase this part. I hear you.
Be a support hero today. By using commands like /donation and /cash app.
I will say a bit tired, but that's fine. Okay, erase this part. Okay, erase this. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to clean this up. Oh, I don't know what happened the other day on this, but it kind of makes me mad now seeing it. Oh, and the face. That was one of the biggest things. Okay, so let me grab the face. The lonely one's always judging me. Running anything about the whole world in front of me. Okay, grab that. Grab this. Grab that. Grab that. Okay. Ugh. Now the face looked a little weird. So the problem is I think it's just too wide. So I'm gonna push the hair eyes a bit. Curve it like this.
When you share a hotel room with your kid, you also share a bedtime with your kid. That's what's good.
Hello. Okay, let me pull this off.
If you get an Airbnb, you get to pick your own bedtime.
She looks so weird. Looks too... I don't... looks so weird. The eyes. Okay.
So you think you know wigs? That's what's weird looking about them. I say it's beautiful. First up, we've got
She needs work.
You can use different shapes to create completely different aesthetics. Or you can create your own brand. I use the shape composition here. Just import any SVG file and set it as a shape mask.
Shut up. Okay. Okay, there we go. What we should do is erase this part. Get a hair. Stop it there. Oh, what happened to the... Yeah, something incredibly stupid happened and I don't know what caused that.
Says, oh yeah, I forgot to mention I tagged you on Instagram.
Okay. Hold on. What? I'll just work with what I have. So I'll just do it this way. It's annoying, but I'll do it anyway. Somebody else.
Says at this point I could use more than 24 hours in a day just to catch up.
Yeah. Okay. Grab this. Hurt yourself. No, 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 no. Thank you for the follow, I do appreciate it. Get yourself, get yourself. Okay. Yeah. That'll do.
Says good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Says it right from those tags.
Alright guys, I'm gonna start the podcast. You come over here. We're going to do only 4. And then we're gonna do the tutorials. So come over here, we're gonna do the tutorials. The tutorials. We're gonna do the podcast stuff. There's some new rumors going on in the gaming industry and stuff like that. So we're going to see what's going on. So come over here if you want to talk about it. If you can't, just stay there. I don't care. But you won't be able to hear anything. Because we don't have a lot of time. I gotta get off early today. Let's see here. Like that. So I'm just trying to rush through today. Okay, like 1. do is okay, oops. No, we'll start from here and then nope. Nope. Hey, stop it. Okay, so I don't like the look of that, but I'll make sense of it. All right, so let's see. Capture. Okay, got that. And then we hit background music. Okay. So over here it says this is from Endymion. It says here, oh, let me play some music over there so you guys can enhance. Anyway, so we're with Endymion again. It says here, Woke Nexus mods bans, or Woke Nexus mods bans Final Fantasy 7 Tifa's chess plus PlayStation layoffs proof AAA gaming is dying. Well, I already did that whole spiel with AAA gaming and gave my whole like opinion on that, but let's see what this whole Nexus mod thing is about. That part I won't even probably even bother to talk about, but we'll see. So let's go. Let's see.
What's up, everyone? It's Endymion.
Now here, gotta go through the thing. Okay, there we go. Hold on. Hold on. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Why is it doing this to me? Okay.
What's up, everyone? It's Endymion, and yeah,
Okay, now
here
it's
I am
working.
again, 3 days in a
Okay,
row because
it's
the
working.
news won't.
All right, Wokus Nexus mods ban Final Fantasy 7 Tifa's chess plus PlayStation layoffs proves AAA gaming is dying. So let's go. Let's see what Demon has to say with this.
What's up, everyone? It's Endymion, and yeah, here I am again, 3 days in a row because the news won't stop coming, and of course, there's some new shenanigans happening all over. From Tifa Lockhart being censored in Final Fantasy VII Remake, Nexus mods yet again banning people over trying to course correct, and the massive PlayStation layoffs. There's a lot to go over today. But first, let's start with Final Fantasy VII and the whole Tifa controversy. So recently, there was an 8GB update that randomly appeared mere days before Rebirth's launch for the previous game Final Fantasy VII Remake. The patch said that allegedly it would be for bugs and fixes, but if you know anything about this stuff, 8GB for some bug fixes is ridiculously high, and of course within that patch was some nefarious changes. As of right now, we don't know all of the changes, but we do know that for sure Tifa's chest was covered up more in the flashback sequence in Nibelheim within Remake. Here's a side-by-side comparison so that you can see the changes. Obviously, the change here is that Tifa
Yeah, I can see it. It's obviously it's like you can see it. You can't
now has a black
unsee it.
undershirt covering her chest. However, as many fans were quick to point out, Tifa within this scene is 15 years old, so, you know, underage. Of course, within the confines of Japanese society, which obviously Remake was made in, 16 is their age of consent. But of course, outside of Japan, this is considered a child. While I'm not per se angry about the cover-up since she is 15 here, but this does irk me the wrong way for other reasons. Which is of course not only censorship, but how companies are able to effectively change things months or years later, in this case, long after they already have your money. It's a similar tactic used by many games that have live service elements. For example, a few years back, if a game released with an item shop from the get-go, the existence of microtransactions and other in-game purchases would directly affect the game's Metacritic score. This would result in reviewers becoming disillusioned and would rate games lower than expected due to the extra greediness on display from these games at release. Of course, game studios and publishers didn't like this idea, but they also didn't want to sacrifice the entire concept of microtransactions in their games either. This then resulted in many games like Tekken 8, for example, releasing day one without a cash shop of any kind.
Okay.
This is done because then when the game goes to reviewers, the microtransactions are not looming over them like Batman the entire time. And then the game is scored favorably based on its content, story, mechanics, and so on. And the score is likely higher than it would be. Then, what a lot of these sorts of games do, like Tekken, Street Fighter, or any other live service-esque game does, is once the reviews come out and the scores are solidified saying, oh, this game is great, it has all of this content and it all feels fair and so on, then these studios across the board will release a ghost patch about a month or so after release. And suddenly these games will have cash shops all of a sudden, and now the studios and publishers get the higher than usual Metacritic scores, and they also get to dabble in the live service elements and make money off their dedicated fan bases as well. The reason why I'm talking about delayed cash shops is because that's what this Tifa thing is like. A company can lure you in with the promise of no censorship, have you buy the game and enjoy it, then once the transaction is complete, and maybe a month or 5 passes, or 4 years in Remake's case,
And then they change it, just like what they did in Skullgirls. That's ultimately what they did in Skullgirls. What they'll do is they'll lure you in, or lure you in, and then once you get their money, you got their money, then they start making changes right then. Now, this was years ago because like Skullgirls has been out since what, 2011, I think, 2010, 2011, I think, if I remember right. It was a while back, a long time ago. But they made changes recently, like I think 2 or 3 years ago now. I think it's been 2 years now. I think it's been 2 years. About 2 years. But yeah, it's like they did stuff like that, and they know that the number one thing that made people buy Skullgirls was ultimately the sex appeal. That's pretty much what it was. And that what made the game appealing and different, but we're gonna pretend it was just gameplay.
then they go back and stealth patch it like this with Tifa, for example. And now the game has your money and the ethics department gets what they want in the end anyway. It's disingenuous and really scummy in my opinion, and I'm disappointed to see Square Enix doing this to any capacity, especially considering how much of a celebration there was when Tifa's huge givers of life were shown and how the fan base responded to it. By doing this, no matter how much time has passed, it creates a scenario where fans of not just Final Fantasy, but any game or property could be roped into buying something and supporting it only to have their trust and dedication soured post-mortem. And I personally don't think that's okay, nor is censorship in any form. Again, I know Tifa is 15 in this moment in the game, so yes, she's still a teenager. But I'm not necessarily mad about this change myself because again, she's underage here. But I do take umbrage at the fact that Square Enix is essentially selling a product and promoting it as one thing, only to change what that product is once payments are
Please don't do that.
finalized.
I don't know
It's
what
less
that
about
is.
the fact that Tifa is a teen here, and it's more to do with the ethical use of censorship and the breach of trust in players and publishers. Who's to say that the massive punching bags of Tifa in Rebirth will not be in a year or something get censored as well? I personally don't condone the use of censorship, and I find it woefully pathetic regardless. This then brings up the question of, does this mean Square Enix ethics department is alive and well still? The answer to that might be that yes they are, but of course people will say, well, their online page is gone, which is also true. But it's likely that Square Enix's ethics department is akin to Palpatine in Star Wars. Thought long to be dead, but secretly cooking schemes behind the scenes without anyone knowing of their existence. In terms of what this ethics department's role is when it comes to Square's games, their website said back in 2022 that checking all games' expressions, including scenarios, illustrations, designs, and effects, to ensure that they do not contain expressions that are discriminatory, prejudicial, I can't say that word, prejudicial, I can't say it, oh my god, or offensive, whatever, moving on. While I understand you need someone to ensure your game isn't covered in, say, hateful symbols or something, I think stuff like the cleavage of a character or the outfit of someone is reaching a little too far. Because you're losing consumer trust by doing things like this, and personally, Square Enix gains absolutely nothing by doing this in the end. All they're gonna do is piss off their fans and make potential buyers not willing to support their future endeavors. It's basically pandering to the modern audience while rejecting the actual audience that was going to buy your game in the first place.
Yeah.
But now that you have pandered, these eager buyers will now look elsewhere, and it's a shame because I can tell that Rebirth is going to be great. And I was hoping, especially considering the existence of Final Fantasy XVI from last year, that Square had put this behind them. Because 16 proved that Square Enix was willing and able to create a game devoid of identity politics and instead just deliver a quality experience that actually felt premium. And I feel as if by doing what they're doing here, it's worrying to me. Because I love Final Fantasy. It's my favorite game series ever, and 7 in particular, like the basic bitch I am, is my favorite in the series as well. So to have any form of censorship like this, it leaves me in a state of annoyance. Because I love Square Enix games, and I regularly play and buy their games almost constantly. But when they pull things like this, it makes it really difficult to defend them when they're doing exactly what people don't want them to do.
No.
Although this is reminiscent of back in 2019 when it was confirmed that Remake would tighten Tifa's chest. The reasoning for this apparently was not due to over-sexualization, but gameplay, according to Tetsuya Nomura. Who, if you don't know who that guy is, he created the iconic designs like Cloud, Sephiroth, Tifa, and is also the man who conceptualized and
Hey Hershey, what's going on, bro?
created the entire Kingdom Hearts universe. While interviewed by Famitsu, Nomura said regarding Tifa's chest that, "We wanted Tifa to have abs, so she now has more of an athletic body type." The
Really?
ethics department at Square Enix
I wonder why. I wonder why the abs was such an importance to this. I think we all know why. It's not because she has strength or anything, because we know she was really strong. Nah, bro. We know why they went down that route. It's not that hard to figure that one out.
also said we had to tighten her chest so it doesn't look unnatural during all the intense fighting. Because of that, we added black thigh highs and tank top. Another reason given was that because of Tifa's fast-paced gameplay style, her big fat cushions of justice would allegedly get in the way of her fists while fighting. And so in order to make her animations quicker and make more sense in-game, they reduced her Warlocks of Evermore to a smaller size. But I think I speak for everyone, especially those who played the original 7 on PS1, that Tifa's Milkers of Legend were never really something anyone hated. If anything, we loved it, and it was borderline meme-worthy how huge those bonkers got by the end of the game. I think the only reason this is happening is solely because Square Enix, like so many other companies these days, are terrified of the nuclear Western response from gaming sites and so on. And if I had to wager, Square Enix is likely looking at Rebirth and thinking this game has to score well and also needs to sell well to justify its existence. And sadly, Metacritic scores are still important in today's world. And if Square Enix were to offend these Western journalists with something like Tifa's huge bongo drums, that could affect the game's final Metacritic score. So in order to ensure they don't piss off the reviewers, who they know are often raised in these identity political environments, They do things like restrict Tifa's chest to ensure the review process and the actual game and all the work that goes into art, music, sound design, and so on isn't lost and ruined because some feminists with pink hair got mad that a beautiful woman is on screen and they can't relate.
This is ridiculous.
However, at the same time, what this ends up doing is pissing off the people who really matter, which is of course you, dear viewer. Cause without you, there is no Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth or anything else. It's due to your support financially that these games can and continue to exist. So by doing these things, it just angers the loyal fans of the product at the cost of appeasing weirdos who don't buy your games anyways. Mostly cause these journos obviously get them for free because, you know, they review it and it's not good. But of course, this gets even worse since Nexus mods, which I've reported on the past, is infested with woke weirdos. And they have now been banning any mods on their website that restore Tifa's look before the patch that released recently.
Wow.
So, yet again, like every other time I've reported on Nexus mods, they've again banned and silenced their community by not allowing people.
I bet you anything, I bet you anything that involves like Cloud
to
mod Cloud in any way that is like feminine will be perfectly fine.
Games the way that they want. At this point, I don't even know why anyone even uses Nexus mods if they actually care about modding their experience. Cause half the time you can't even do any mods unless it meets the criterias of some moderator at Nexus who likely has Dorito dust on their keyboard. The concept of a modding site is to do just that, host and compile mods for ease of use and access to players. That's it, that's where the ethics and opinion should end with this, but of course not. And this now proves that Nexus mods, like other sites such as Game Banana with the whole Tomb Raider mod ban thing I reported on already, are enforcing their own code of ethics upon a hobby that should be free of such nonsense. Need I remind you that Nexus mods does still have mods where you can end the lives of children in Skyrim or Fallout still to this day? But remove a t-shirt added post-update in a Japanese game, well now you've gone too far apparently. And I just hate to see censorship like this all over the place. I mean, Square has done this before too. In Bravely Default, they covered up the character models more as well compared to the Japanese release, as you can see here. And in Chrono Cross Remastered, they changed dialogue like this where it seems like it was changed to not a fan feminist, I guess? Regardless, it's stupid and unnecessary. Ultimately, I'm disappointed to see Square Enix doing this, and all I can hope is that they listen to their fans and backpedal against all of this in the future. My advice is to make your voice heard, send emails, reviews, or anything towards Square Enix if you can. I wouldn't say boycott their games, cause generally speaking, they are quality products and they should be.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon, if ever, because like when I saw May Forspoken,
played. Especially Remake or Rebirth, but I think Square's devs are just stuck in a rock and a hard place right now. And they need the community of fans to tell them to stop being so afraid of Western feminist agendas and just embrace what makes Square Enix so beloved to begin with. That would be my advice, because I would be depressed if Square was lost to the identity political nonsense of today. And speaking of nonsense, it looks like PlayStation Studios has laid off people, so what the hell is happening over there? According to Bloomberg,
this is Endymion.
Jason Schreier, Sony is laying off around 8% of its workforce, which comes to around 900 jobs across Sony studios. One of the major games affected was apparently a live service Twisted Metal game being made at Firesprite Studios, which was a new studio that Sony acquired last year, if memory serves me correctly. What's also crazy is even the big dogs at Sony aren't safe from this layoff, with even Insomniac Games, who did Spider-Man, having some layoffs. However, we don't know exactly how many people there was that got laid off, as well as Naughty Dog, which we know for Uncharted and The Last of Us. Again, also, we don't know how many got laid off there either. Then there's Guerrilla Games, which is losing 40 people, which is 10% of their team, and they did games like Horizon and Killzone. And the biggest closure here is the London studio, which has made all kinds of games as well as VR titles for Sony. Their entire studio is shut down effectively immediately. And what many people are pointing out is how Jim Ryan, who oversees PlayStation, was photographed at London Studios literally a few days ago. And he's all smiles here, surrounded by people he knew would be laid off in the next few days. This photo is just bleak, dude. Good lord, is it ever. Just brutal. Head of PlayStation Studios Herman Hull said one of the reasons for these layoffs is that sometimes great ideas don't become great games, apparently. Jim Ryan also sent an email that of course leaked, and this was sent to everyone affected by these layoffs. It said, and I quote, "The PlayStation community means everything to us, so I felt it was important to update you on a difficult day at our company. We have made the extremely hard decision to announce our plan to commence a reduction of our overall headcount globally by about 8% or about 900 people. Subject to local law and consultation processes, employees across the globe, including our studios, are impacted. These are incredibly talented people who have been a part of our success, and we are very grateful for their contributions. However, the industry has changed immensely, and we need to future-ready ourselves to set the business up for what lies ahead. We need to deliver on expectations from developers and gamers and continue to propel future technology in gaming, so we took a step back to ensure we are set up to continue bringing the best gaming experiences to the community. We deeply appreciate support and understanding from the PlayStation community as these decisions are very difficult. Please rest assured that our plans for reorganizing and streamlining are so we can continue to deliver the best gaming experiences possible." End quote. This, of course, has gone over as well as you think it did when it comes to the PlayStation fanbase, with many blasting Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst saying how dare they ruin these studios while not slashing their own salaries instead. And you can find all over social media plenty of affected developers saying they're now jobless and are looking for work. This now amounts
And this
to
is what
almost
happens
6,000.
when you let woke nonsense come through. People will end up being broke and getting laid off. I don't think what people don't realize. This is what happens when this nonsense keeps happening. For the sake of inclusion ESG, it's not going to work. But people don't want to say the truth. It's just magically work one day. It does not work like that.
Jobs lost in video games
It's
in
gone more than
2024
come through.
alone. And if you combine it with 2023's layoffs, it's almost 20,000 people laid off in about a year now. Not only is this just bad for morale, but think about all the young, promising game developers out there who aspire to work for PlayStation or their favorite game studio. How are all of these layoffs going to look and affect the newer generations of talent? At this point, it's a real question to ask yourself if you want to get into game development, which is it even worth it now?
No.
When the risks are so high and the fallout is just so constant. I wouldn't blame anyone if they course corrected their career out of games, seeing how volatile and unstable the job market is there. It's not just PlayStation, obviously. Xbox laid off 1,900 people this year already. Embracer Group laid off hundreds as well, and tons of games are getting cancelled across the board. I am noticing, however, that the majority of the games cancellations that we know of anyway are live service ones. If I had to guess, Sony, Xbox, and more are likely looking at the failures of recent titles like Suicide Squad and Skull and Bones as reasons to get out of live service game development now instead of dumping more resources into it. Remember
God.
too, that Naughty Dog's live service Last of Us Factions game got cancelled. And if I had to guess, those layoffs at Naughty Dog are likely attached to that project. And during the Insomniac leaks, which I won't show, but there was concept art of a cancelled or soon to be cancelled Spider-Verse game, where players could make their own Spider-Person and fight multiverse threats with their friends as Spider-Men or women. If I had to guess, those Insomniac layoffs...
either. Some games were supposed to come out.
I'm not shocked. I am not shocked by that. I don't think he's making that up. I am not shocked. I'm not shocked. This was expected. It's just what I'm actually shocked about is how long it took for this to get to this point. That's the part that actually throws me off. Because I had no faith in what was going on throughout the gaming industry with this whole woke nonsense that was happening anyway. So
probably tied to that game too. It also doesn't help that just across the board, game development costs have skyrocketed. Spider-Man 2 apparently cost something like $300 million to make. And that's a game you can finish to completion in Platinum.
Some of those games were close to the actual release dates too. And they were good games too.
Well, we can't say good yet because we only know good because it's coming from a AAA. We only associate the idea of good because it's coming from a AAA. But given what's been going on in the AAA scene, I don't even use the word good anymore. I use the word, is it competent? Because if it's not competent, this is what, like I said the other day, where Moist Critical is correct. If this keeps happening to the point where what's going to happen is this is going to make if you're going to get into game development, you're not gonna get into game development to work with like AAA studios. What this is gonna ultimately do is encourage more indie
Hello,
devs.
teach your favorite eldritch horror hath arrived the Vin 8 bongo.
Hello, horror. Welcome back. But yeah, I hope you're having an awesome day. But yeah, what's this ultimately is going to happen is going to make more people start their own indie dev team than go and try to join with a AAA studio or publisher or whatever, because they're tired. People are tired of the whole woke nonsense, and this ESG DEI type nonsense is annoying, and everyone's sick of it. Normies are getting woken up by it. People who's been around who know what that is totally sick of it at this point. Everyone knows what this. People are coming to terms with what Sweet Baby Inc. is with that whole revisionist nonsense. So it's just it's a bunch of cogs that was eventually leading to the same point of either layoffs, destruction, a giant bubble. People are going to just literally leave the gaming industry completely. It doesn't matter if you're an artist to a game developer or anything like that. They're going to just start doing their own damn thing. It's going to get to a point where everyone's just going to start doing their own damn studio, their own damn website. Everything is going to be manually done by everyone else, by themselves. Then some AAA studio will be doing it for you or helping you out or trying to get your foot in the door. Your foot in the door is you doing it on your own. That's why things like Helldivers and all these other games are doing well, because it gives what fans want, and that's it. And they put gamers first. They put the game first, not politics or whatever case may be, into said game, and then expect it to be great when you're being told what to do and what to think. So yeah, I have no problem with this per se. It's sad where we're at now, because gaming could be as great as it should be, but because there's bad actors and people who don't care about the industry, wants to just make a profit and wants to seem like they're some type of hero in the eyes of people who don't care about diversity. They just care about the idea of being seen as a quote unquote ally, or seen as a virtuous individual, when you're just doing it to get your business to be more invested. So it's not genuine at all. That's why I don't like DEI or ESG. It's not genuine. It's like I keep saying, DEI and ESG is like a girlfriend and or boyfriend who's telling you to tell them you love them every time you see them. And you have to do it. If you don't,
I feel
you
like
don't
the
love
gaming
them.
industry is slowly dying nonetheless.
It's been dying.
Despite our numerous attempts to save it.
It's been dying. Like most people have been wanting this to happen. I'm not gonna lie. I've been kind of wanting this to happen too for a while now. When you let activist crazy people into your space, this is what happens. It doesn't have to be video games. It doesn't have to be art. It doesn't have to be anything. When you let talented hacks get into your game and or your industry, and you let them in with just a little bit of a leeway, then they want the whole planet. And then when things don't go their way, you're the one going in handcuffs socially and can't even work. And you have to be constantly under siege on, oh, if I say this, will I lose my job? Or this thing we're implementing into the game, 10 years from now, will I be scrutinized on Twitter if it's even alive by then? Will I be scrutinized 10 years from Twitter when this particular thing that was considered okay, will it be offensive 10 years from now? And will I lose my job and lose all accolades because 10 years ago is the same as yesterday or today? You know what I'm saying? It's not the same, right? And this is why cancel culture is either going backwards or forwards.
Just out of curiosity, if the gaming industry dies entirely, who will take over next?
It's not like
your honest opinion on that one.
The idea of when I say gaming industry, when we use the word gaming industry, we're talking about as a whole of everyone. There's no particular one person like we're talking about the United States and like the president or anything. We're talking about like as a whole, like a society as one. But this is what societies they eventually change based on customs, what's socially acceptable at the time, what is totally like, just acceptable at the time, because what was acceptable in like the 1960s will not be accepted here in 2023. Like if I were to talk to a woman as if she was from 1960, 1940, best believe I'm the problematic, toxic individual that they claim, right? But if I were to talk to a woman in 2024, either I'm considered extremely scared of women, or I'm just an ally. You're not even a man at this point. You're an ally, or you're just a incel individual or something like that. They'll call you, depending if your opinions don't match up to their feminist ideology or something like that. It's kind of like that. So there's no one company that's going to take over, because what companies do is look at other companies and what's selling. So like I think a couple of years ago in the 2010s, a lot of games was very zombie based, very party-esque, like the Rock Band, the Guitar Hero, the Dance Dance Revolution type games. That was really a thing back in the day, in the early 2000s. I mean, like mid 2000s,
Gotcha.
early
I
2010s.
heard Facebook talking about a very specific part of the gaming industry that would suffer pretty badly if gaming was overturned. I don't remember which one exactly though.
If based on my experience, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Based on my experience on the gaming industry and as a whole, I think the one genre that's going to suffer the most is probably just the live service, because people love single player games. Nothing's wrong with the single player experience. The problem is when you try and make a single player experience, Sushi Squad, into a live service. It's a co-op
That's it.
game per se, but that's it. That's technically what it is, right? When you make everything live service, it's not even it's not even considered live service. It's just called the standard now, right? That's the problem. Because what companies want, what ultimately all these companies want, they want to be the next Fortnite, or the next Genshin Impact, but mainly Fortnite, because Fortnite doesn't have to innovate on the fact of they innovate. I'm not saying they don't try to. They innovate, but what Fortnite does, or has opened a door for brands to walk in, depending on their popularity and time being. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow, if there was a announcement of One Piece Netflix movie coming out, right? Or movie, the season 2, right, of One Piece, and then all of a sudden they're gonna start mentioning something on Fortnite with the next big update, and the next big update will have One Piece characters in it, right? Like look at Overwatch. Overwatch did at least 2 brand collaborations, as far as I see it. They did.
That's exactly it.
So like
I remember hearing the single player games especially were taking a huge toll cause of the gaming industry.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. It's not really the multiplayer thing. It's mostly how can I milk as much money out of these pay piggies as best as I can without them noticing or stuff. This is why. But what Genshin Impact does, compared to Fortnite, is that they let aesthetic run their company. So what that means is anime girls, make them appealing, make them cool, make them cute, make them fun, let them be flashy. For Fortnite, it's what's the next brand, what is currently popular, who's promoting what, and then we'll put some guns in it that represents that thing that is. So like if there's a next Marvel, or like I said, One Piece Netflix, and that was popular, and One Piece is ultimately popular just by name. If right now Fortnite says we're doing a collaboration, I wouldn't be surprised. Then you can play as Luffy, you can play as Zoro, you can play as Nami, you can probably get the whole Straw Hat crew, right? You might get Sanji, you might get most of the whole crew. I don't think they're gonna add Jinbei. They might add Frankie, probably, but I know they may just put in the main 4 casts, or the most popular. outside the Straw Hats will be like, okay, the Straw Hats I've probably, if I would have to guess for Fortnite, is definitely Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Zoro, Robin. I don't know if they're gonna put Chopper, they're gonna put his more bigger looking form, because if you look at Chopper's form, it looks no more different from the models of the defaulted more big muscly looking dudes in Fortnite, right? And then probably Frankie. I don't even think they're gonna put Jinbei. Anything outside of the Straw Hat crew, they're gonna put probably Crocodile, Flamingo, um, maybe Law, and if anything outside that, maybe Buggy, right? They might
Yeah,
put
pretty
those.
much them four.
Them for mainly the main crew, but like that's what's gonna happen, right? And if just lucky enough, they'll oh, this thing is turning. I'm sorry about that. What's else they're gonna put in is probably maybe Shanks, if lucky, if they get that many characters, if possible, just to promote their Netflix movie, right? They'll do it. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't Netflix not pay Fortnite or at least Oda to pay? Have Oda pay Netflix to do it. But they already did it with My Hero Academia, and I think this was at the time the season just started last season. So they had like all these new characters. So it would make total sense to do it, right? So yeah, I would do that. So that's what Fortnite has become. It is a vehicle for brands that are extremely popular in the pop culture zeitgeist to use to promote their game, to keep them still relevant to kids in the sphere of gaming. That's it. But what Genshin Impact does is about aesthetic, gameplay, and what fans want and need.
I think Netflix included a few added characters to their games as well, either last year
Yes.
or this year.
Let me see what you said. You said I think Netflix included a few to their games as well. I don't know. I don't know about the whole like Netflix and I don't know about the whole oh shit. I don't know about the whole situation with
Hey,
Netflix and their games. I know Netflix are doing video games now.
I think I heard something about that.
But I don't know how I feel about that at all. It's really, really weird. It's really, really weird. Guys, those of you who are here on TikTok, if you want to come over here and have the conversation with us on YouTube and Twitch, you can. If you want to. You don't have to. But we're having this conversation. It'll be on YouTube. So if you want to give your opinion on the gaming industry, what's happening, because what's happening in the gaming industry is not great. Well, obvious reasons. You can come over here and give your opinion. If you disagree or not, it's perfectly fine. We bring all people, whether of orientation or case may be. If you want to give your opinion, please be respectful if you want to, but then again, that's it. All right, so let's see what else is happening here.
In less than 30 hours, so that's an insanely expensive game release. And these games, with their huge budgets, obviously need to sell millions upon millions of copies, or they face layoffs or closures. And it's simply not sustainable anymore. And I think what we're going to see is fewer AAA massive games coming out of anywhere across the industry. And I think what the industry needs more now than ever is not just a reduction from their inflated budgets, but game prices too. Make shorter games that aren't as taxing, that don't take 10 years to make like Skull and Bones, and then price them accordingly. From the early 2010s to about now, the concept of the middle tier game and their prices have largely evaporated from the gaming ecosystem. And they've all been replaced by expensive live service games or stuff like Spider-Man. And it's more obvious than ever that the bubble has long burst. Not to mention, I think another big reason for why these layoffs are happening as well is because of something no one really wants to say, so I will. But during the pandemic...
I'm pretty sure I know what he's going to say. Other than the pandemic, he's going to talk about the inclusivity problem.
Pandemic, of course, a lot of games were being made remotely because obviously people couldn't go into studios.
Well, Robin
which resulted
really clean.
Let me see. Yes, I'm cleaning her up so she doesn't look all sketchy. So we're cleaning her. We're giving her the line art that she deserves. I'm near done, so I'm gonna clean up her dress and everything. Try and make it as good as possible so it looks very good, and not look all sketchy like the previous one I did of Nami. Like I said, I have improved more from last time, and that was like what, years ago since I did that Nami drawing for you. Gold. But thank you for coming in. I do appreciate it, my bro. I hope you had an awesome stream today. If you streamed today, I'm not sure you did. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wonderful.
Yes. Now, let's see. But yeah, but I think ultimately, if I think of it now, the game industry is going down because, let's just be honest, every industry is going down in some form. Once ESG was implemented, everything is either we're going
I
to.
only stream on Tuesday, Thursday, and SAT.
Oh, okay. Let me see. What's today? Today is what? Today is Wednesday. Okay, so you didn't stream today. Okay, gotcha. The thing is about all these industries, whether it's in video games, movies, or even in TV shows like Netflix or that streaming services, the reason why most of these companies have to do a reduction of we're not going to post as much this year is because they all share the same problem. It is the whole ESG DEI problem. That is the problem.
In people leaving companies or moving out of state, etc., a lot of nonsense was happening and it was understandable. So what a lot of these studios and publishers did was they basically overhired across the board for all their departments.
Correct.
And
I felt that way too. I felt like there was a high influx ever since the pandemic. It's been like a high influx of people trying to get hired because it was such a incentivizing thing for the pandemic to come through for everyone, because now they can work from home. They got the job that everyone kind of wanted to work, especially if you're a game studio, if you work in a game studio. The one thing you wanted is to get that one sweet job that allows you to work from home, so you don't have to be in or ever really have to go to the studio, right? That's the dream job that most people wanted to at least achieve to, so they can seem like a big hot shot. So it's because they get to spend more time with their kids if they have kids and their families, their loved ones, and stuff like that, so they're not always gone all the time. But that overinflated as soon as the pandemic came in, and then people was staying at home, probably wasn't doing their job as much as they were. They wasn't as productive because they was at home, so they always had an excuse, or they made an excuse on why they didn't work as much, or if they did, they didn't do as well of a job or something like that. It was something being affected work-wise if they was not, because they wouldn't be as effective if they was at. I'm not saying some people are not effective when they don't work from home, because I'm pretty sure they are, because if they really worked hard to get to that point, then yeah, I'm pretty sure they will still work effectively as normal. But when someone who is just given the out of, oh, just stay home and work from home, they're going to abuse it because they don't have that responsibility of urgency, because now they're home. They can't prove that I didn't do work or anything until I clocked in, or whatever the case may be, depending on what the methods were to indicate to studios that you was working from home, or what allowed you to say that you did work that day, or where work week they had to do for that particular game or project. It doesn't have to be video games. It could be anything that had to deal with the computer in general.
Led to these games being worked on remotely, having more people than they likely needed to finish the projects. And due to this overhiring, budgets ballooned and eventually imploded, and now in 2024, we are now 4 years removed from the pandemic, and the costs and returns on investment from that hiring frenzy and pandemic era are starting to catch up with all the major publishers.
Yep.
And now that things are returned to, well, I wouldn't say normal, but more normal than it was during the pandemic.
Oh, definitely. No one's doing social distancing anymore. Ever rarely they're doing a social distancing. I don't think that's even a term anymore. I don't think anyone... Guys, there's 10 of you. If you guys want to be part of the conversation and know what I'm talking about, it's not like I'm just talking randomly. I'm talking to YouTube and Twitch and Trovo and Kick. So if you guys want to be part of that conversation, go to the link in my bio and join, and you can get into the YouTube video if you want to be part of it. If you don't care for that, you can stay over there if you like. It doesn't matter. I'm just giving you guys the context on why I'm talking, and you guys must be wondering, no one's talking in TikTok about it. How are you having this conversation with yourself? I'm not. I'm talking to my audience on YouTube and Twitch. I'm multi-streaming to all different platforms. So if you're wondering, that's the reason. But if you don't care, you don't have to bother. Just ignore me.
Anyway, like people returning to working in offices and so on, this has led to a ton of bloat at every major studio and so on.
There you go.
And so in response, there is now this massive purge that's going on. To paint a picture for you, imagine each major publisher, Sony, Xbox, and so on, they're all rocket ships. And each added piece of the rocket ship is a group of devs they overhired, or projects that were live service or other projects that simply weren't working. Basically, these publishers have to purge the added weight of what's no longer necessary to ensure their rocket ship doesn't get pulled down by all the excess weight so they can fly, and that's what's happening. Yes, I just made a spaceship metaphor, I hope it makes sense, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's either these publishers keep all of these people and blow it up, or do the awful act of layoffs to ensure they're more streamlined. I'm not siding with the publishers or anything, by the way, I'm just telling you the uncomfortable reality of what's really going on. So you can shoot the messenger if you want, but I'm gonna say it because a lot of journalists won't because they'll get backlash from their social circles. If stuff like The Last of Us live service wasn't working or this Twisted Metal live service, then obviously Sony has a few options. They either keep the devs and allocate them, but realistically you only have so much space in a studio or on teams. Think of it like a kitchen at a restaurant. Again, here I go with the metaphors, but the kitchen cooking the food has stations. And it can only have so many people on it before the line gets overcrowded with people.
Correct.
You could force more people online, but it doesn't help and actually just hampers the quality control if you just streamline the entire line in Expo and ensure it had enough people already. That's why these devs aren't being kept. There simply just isn't enough budget, projects, or space to keep them online. So yes, now I've made a kitchen and a rocket ship comparison. I promise I'm done with the metaphors now. But as you can see, the ultimate result is that there was a ton of bloat, too much overhiring during COVID, too many projects that are likely live service or in London Studios' case, VR related. Which Sony has already said VR hasn't been going well for anyone regardless across the industry right now.
No, because VR is too expensive. Let's just call it for what it is. I understand VR is very interesting. The only way VR is going to work if somehow Elon Musk, like if you really wanted that so-called metaverse to be a real thing, if that was a big meme, like if Elon Musk really manages to get this Neuralink become like more mainstream and people get into it, and then you can somehow manage to get people to play games from their head, then yeah, VR will be a lot. It won't even be called VR anymore. You won't even need a fucking headset anymore. But if you did, you can probably play it from like, it will be like a weird bionic, like, I won't say the word bionic, but let's just say that a bionic like augmented experience.
The cyberverse.
Yeah, like the cyberverse or something. That makes sense. There we go. So like it's kind of like that. That is somehow they make that more mainstream, but that won't be as mainstream. People are not going to open their heads just to play a video game. Let's just be honest. There will be some people who might do it because they have nothing better to do, but that will happen. So yeah. Hey, One-Eyed, what's going on?
Right now. And they're left in a spot where you either keep people and bloat up or streamline. It just sucks that this industry is like this. And I'm not saying that Sony was good to do this or if Xbox was before either. But these layoffs and all of this has been nothing short of a result of what the past few years has proven, which is that game budgets are out of control, inflation is way too high, and there is...
Sorry, don't do drawings just because you asked. That's a commission. If you want a commission, you gotta go either to TikTok and give a gift based on the commission on the menu, or you can go to my other menu that
if Elon calls it that he got it from me.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't do that for free.
Far too much quantity and content without enough quality. And in terms of the Final Fantasy VII Tifa thing, it's a result of tone deafness and
if you don't, then you can always look at the other menu and pay for on PayPal for that.
Best I could do was like and subscribe.
No, that's not gonna be good enough.
Bye.
Laters.
Retribution by feminists. None of these things are good that they happened, but I hope this video helped you understand why they are happening. I hope anyone impacted finds a job, and like I've been saying for a long time now, there's a rot in this industry and it needs to be fixed. I guess time will tell, but as always, thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Thanks to my patrons, and keep your heads up, friends. It's only February, and so much has already happened. God knows what's coming in the near future. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Yep. Okay, that's it, Demion. Thank you, Demion, for that. That was awesome. Great stuff. So we're gonna jump on to the next one. Like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment to this video if you want. He makes great videos and all that great stuff. Also, hit the bell if you guys like this content to let me know. We were supposed to do some art stuff, but because my freaking parents maybe took so long to get on, I couldn't get to do it. But we'll do that probably tomorrow because they have to go to work, so they won't bug me to spend time with them. Anyway, so let's move on to the next one. Oh, and okay. Anyway, now the next one is, let's go to anything video game related. Okay, all the technically all the video game stuff is done for today right now. So we're gonna do only comic book stuff and anything anime related. I'll probably throw in one recommendation for anime for Bry because I know he loves those stuff. So that's just out of respect for Bry. So I'll find at least one video that's doing recommendations of probably manga or something, or so. Maybe I'm an anime, depending. Let's see. So over here, West Thinking Critical is saying why Dawn of DC is 100% failure. I guess this is some form of comic book that was a total failure in the DC universe per se. It's a story.
Thanks, bro.
No problem. So Wes is going to give his take on that. Usually, if you don't know, even if you haven't read the books or anything like that, Wes tends to do a great job of getting you up to speed or giving you context of what's happening, or a case may be of so you don't feel totally lost in why we're listening to this. And these things are very important to know in the comic book industry if you want to work in comic books or anything like that. If you had any desires to, which I don't think any Westerner right now wants to get into comic books, given what's going on in the toxicness of what atmosphere of what comic books has become. But there's some people who just can go through the rot of it. Fine, but it's good enough to be up to date of what's going on into that type of sphere and know what comic books is selling, what's not. So if you have, like, say, a webtoon that you want to work on, or a comic book you want to write about, or a case may be, pay close attention to these things if you're thinking of getting into the creative space of this, and know what works, what doesn't, what fans hate, what fans do like, and how not to isolate or to ignore said audience when feedback is coming through to you and your business. All right, so if you're a comic book webtoons person, this is probably the one for you. So don't do what the triple heads are doing, because they're not listening at all, or they let DEI and ESG ruin their spaces. But if you're independent, this is something you don't have to worry about too much. So yeah. All right, let's see what he says.
Imagine all of you have figured out by now, DC Comics Dawn of DC initiative is almost over. We're heading to the end state with Absolute Power, the big event that's coming up. And it's time to look back at Dawn of DC at what I consider to be a 100% failure on the part of DC Comics. I don't think they even knew what they wanted Dawn of DC to be. They did have some words explaining what they thought would happen during it. I don't think that's really occurred whatsoever, although there is an article from the Popverse that I'll be using just to kind of remind you of what Dawn of DC is and some of their opinions on it. For the most part, I disagree with a lot of what they have to say, but it's good to look back and see what DC Comics can learn from another absolute failure on their part. This summer, the Dawn of DC comes to an end. DC Comics confirmed the line-wide branding, which debuted in January 2023, was used to promote launches of DC's primary DC Universe titles throughout the subsequent months, will be dropped with the launch of the Absolute Power event in July. The Dawn of DC branding was announced in November 2022, as a publishing initiative spinning out of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earth series, intended to, as DC put it at the time, shine the spotlight on a number of fan-favorite superheroes and supervillains that haven't been front and center for some time. And we still haven't seen Aquaman. There's no Aquaman series. We still haven't seen Justice League. They haven't re-debuted, although I 100% believe that will happen in Absolute Power. Who are the heroes that we hadn't seen that had a spotlight shined on them? Probably, I guess, the only one really is Green Arrow. And that one seems to be trending downward as far as popularity goes. But other than that, maybe Hawkgirl, which was a complete embarrassment. Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville, another complete embarrassment. Just a lot of failure across the board. The only stuff that's really worked, at least in my mind, is really the Superman series. It wasn't like we hadn't seen the Man of Steel in quite some time. I would say Green Lantern has been great, but it's not like we haven't seen Green Lantern before. We had the Grant Morrison series, followed by the Jeff Thorne series, went right into the Jeremy Adams stuff and Philip Kennedy Johnson. We've certainly seen Hal Jordan and John Stewart spotlighted quite a bit, and those are some of the highlights. But what they did with the Flash under Cy Springer has been an embarrassment and a whole lot of failure across the board. The current state of Batman, which isn't really what they're talking about here, but Batman is just awful. I don't even know what Chip Zdarsky is doing anymore. Coming out of Joker Year One of the worst stories I've ever read in my life. probably just a smidge better than Gotham War. And really, that's what Dawn of DC has been really about. It hasn't really been about spotlighting heroes and villains. It's been about events. You know, we came out of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. We went into Lazarus Planet, which was a joke in my opinion. Then we went into Night Terrors, where they shut the entire line down.
I heard that
despite a couple of titles building up some
It
momentum.
never does. They always misuse Barry. They always do, or Wally, or depending on what Flesh Speedster we're talking about. They always misuse him. They do the same thing with Superman. They do the same thing with Hawkgirl. They just misuse all their heroes for stupid reasons. That makes no sense. Just for some type of reason, whether it's for DEI or ESG. Sometimes it's it just doesn't make sense. Like yesterday, we was listening to the whole Joker thing, like Joker Year One, with Batman. How the Joker, for some odd reason, I think it was 10 years ago, was working on his Joker toxin gas, right? And then he managed to get the Red Hood gang or something like that, or I think it was a gang of Red Hoods.
Yeah.
To get him,
this one really crossed the line.
Yeah, to get him.
I think I heard that they tried something with the Flash and it was overlooked, but this one got them into huge trouble.
Yeah,
so I heard.
It's sad. It's sad how they treat heroes, DC heroes, Marvel heroes these days. They don't treat them with any respect. They don't take care of them. This is why Jack Kirby and Stan Lee is probably literally, not even figuratively, like literally just like turning in their graves. It must suck.
That wasn't a very smart idea. We went right into Gotham War, which is absolutely terrible. We went into Beast World, which is surprisingly kind of good.
I know I said,
as I imagine, all noble endeavors or whatever.
I know I said Jack Kirby and Marvel because I'm talking about DC, but like I'm just using them as an example. I'm not saying those are the people who created those, because they created Marvel. That's DC. I'm talking about something different. But like I'm just saying in general, like anyone because I only use them because they're more recognizable compared to the others, or by name. So
not exactly Justice League caliber of problems that the Titans were tackling there. And then we get into Beast World. But at that point, people just wanted the Justice League. And really, they've been trying to explain, using characters like Batman and Superman, of why the Justice League decided to disband. They've never actually given a real reason why the Titans needed to take over. And technically, if you go read Beast World, the Titans are the reason that the entire world was basically taken over by animals, because Beast Boy was so stupid, he turned himself into the Necrostar and was then taken over by Dr. Hate and all that kind of stuff, and ended up destroying his girlfriend's life, I guess. She's stuck in a little gemstone right now. So they didn't even really make the Titans look all that compelling as heroes. They kind of made them look really stupid and kind of almost destroyed the world. But, you know, Titans Beast World being fun is the aberration. Nobody expected that, and I imagine that's why the sales on it were just absolutely so porous across the board. And if they just would have called it Justice League Beast World, it probably would have done better, because people would have expected it to be led by Superman and Batman rather than Raven, Beast Boy, and Nightwing. And I love Nightwing, but not exactly a hot character in my book right now, not a great series. Of course, that had been going on well before Dawn of DC. You know, and then talking about the Weird Legends miniseries, we're never going to see those characters again. Every single one of those was a failure. Go read Spirit World, and you can see how DC Comics tackles dead naming, as if that's something superheroes really need to concern themselves with. Absolutely waste of time on all of those things. They went out and created stuff. They paid people to create new characters that nobody cared about, nobody bought into. And why would people go out there and buy into Spirit World and The Vigil and City Boy and all that kind of stuff when they can't even get Batman right? When they can't even produce a Justice League book? We haven't seen Aquaman for like 2 years now in a solo title. Yet I'm supposed to go and buy into these characters that nobody's ever even heard of. You know, if DC Comics can't get their mainline stuff, their bread and butter right, why would anybody trust them to do anything correct at this point? And I think that's another one of the big failings of Dawn of DC, is it never really made people believe that DC were turning the corner. It felt like they were turning a corner with Superman, certainly, which is doing much better, and certainly with Green Lantern. But it's only characters here and there. But then when you go and see Batman, Detective Comics is basically unreadable under Ram V. Go check out The Flash. Go read that trash. And they're not even getting their like A-list characters right. And then Wonder Woman, like I said, is just an absolute chore. It's tough to buy into these new concepts when DC can't even get their like core concepts right. And I think that was an enormous failure on their part. The success of Dawn of DC as a brand can be seen not only in the increased profile for many of the publisher's core superhero properties, but also in the fact that it stuck around far past its original cutoff date. Looking back at that November 2022 announcement of the
news or game news said that they lost total interest in the characters, even wanting to forget them entirely.
Yeah. If I remember right, if I remember way back when, I think Aqualad got his own series, and it was about a bunch of identity politic nonsense. It was like a love story between him and I think his boyfriend or something. That's what that was. If you guys know what I'm talking about, there's something with, and the art style looks very Tumblr-esque. Like if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Brand, it was described as a year-long storytelling initiative. Instead, Dawn of DC will have run 18 months by the time it's retired this summer. Now, those obviously are the words of the Popverse. I think Graham McMillan, not myself, because I don't think this has been a success, and I don't think it lasted 18 months because it was just so amazing for sales that they had to keep it going. People were just really buying into Dawn of DC. You know, they put out these graphs, and it would have like little time charts with logos on characters that were coming back. And every 2 months they would release a new graph, and the characters that were stacked up on each other would be moved to the right, moved to the right. I think it lasted 18 months because they couldn't get their shit together. They actually couldn't tell the stories that they were supposed to in time. And they just had to kind of like bleed it out and bleed it out and bleed it out. Like we were supposed to get that Superman Brainiac Queen event by the end of 2023. I don't think they prolonged it because it was this ginormous sales success. We know that it wasn't. We've heard from comic book retailers. We actually have definitive numbers saying DC comic sales are down and kind of down dramatically over 2023 at a lot of comic.
Who's freaking surprised at this though? No one is surprised by this. If you're surprised by this, like, honestly, if you're surprised by this, you are either a big shill or you really are playing stupid now. Because there's no way in hell you can't notice the quality in writing in these stories, whether it's the art or the quality of writing. Usually it's just the quality of writing. It's not really the art, because some of them are still very talented to do the artwork. It's just some of them kind of stand out when it comes to artwork. But, like, when it comes to storytelling, oh my god, bro. It is not good. It is not good. It is just a frustrating time of just, it's just frustrating. If you're ignoring anything of the quality of DC or Marvel based on their writing, and you're saying that it's good and nothing's wrong, you are full of shit.
Book retailers, it was pushed out because they weren't ready. They couldn't actually get the stories out on time. And finally, they're getting back to the Return of the Justice League, which we were promised, and obviously this Trinity of Evil stuff, which is all going to play into, Absolute Power, which I've already talked about here on the channel. The final words from the Glasses half full perspective of Graham McMillan, which I do find pretty funny in this case because it's been so bad and just the sales have been terrible. Go look at Beast World sales in the rankings. Cannot believe a DC event could do that poorly. Finally, he states, for now, though, let's take a moment to remember Dawn of DC for what it was. A return to fun DC comics that let the world have a really great Doom Patrol comic again. Me to draw something, even if only for 7 issues. I miss you, Unstoppable Doom Patrol. And really, that's the damning piece of evidence to what Graham McMillan is even trying to get across here from the Popverse. You like Doom Patrol. Me personally, I thought it was kind of boring, but I do like the Doom Patrol series. But, they put Dennis Culver on it. What are you supposed to do? He's not exactly a name. And it didn't make it past 7 issues. It was not a miniseries. It was an ongoing series that barely even cracked past 6 months. And you're calling this an enormous success. You had 3 new Asian superheroes created with Spirit World, The Vigil, and City Boy. None of them around. No one's talking about any of these characters. No one's really talking about anything at DC Comics these days other than how bad Joker Year 1 is and what an enormous disappointment it is and why they probably don't want to keep supporting Batman under Chip Zdarsky. And like I said, there's some cool stuff out there. Green Lantern's pretty damn cool. Green Arrow was cool, but it's trending off. Even Superman, which I thought was really, really good, is trending down as well. This last issue, I can't get behind
I
Graf
lost
and
interest
Farm. They're
them
just such
because of the
stupid
stuff they've done
characters.
to
And
them myself.
guess what?
Yeah, I
They
know.
powered down Superman there, and he's got a super like armor suit from Lex
Superman.
Luthor. That's not
Superman has a armor. Oh my god, dude. Then it's not Superman anymore. It's just depowered man in suits. He's not super anymore. He's just depowered of Iron Man at this point.
compelling stuff. That's not what people want to see out of Superman. And they did remove Philip Kennedy Johnson off the Action Comics book to throw Jason Aaron on there for a 3-part Bizarro story, which the first chapter was pretty okay, but the second chapter absolutely sucked. It showed you why you shouldn't have done a 3-part Bizarro series. So even the stuff that they were kind of getting right there for a moment really isn't working. And we still don't have Justice League. We still have Aquaman. And there's just so much failure and missed opportunities in Dawn of DC to really up the profile, because Marvel Comics, quite frankly, right now, suck even worse when it comes to the quality than DC. But DC aren't generating buzz because their A-list titles really aren't generating
He's
buzz.
just a guy
There's
in a
no
suit.
buzz around Batman
Just a
other
guy
than
in a suit.
disappointment.
Comparing
There's a
Superman
little
to
buzz
Iron
around
Man is
Superman, but people
insulting
are
to
also
Iron
disappointed
Man.
Philip Kennedy Johnson left.
You know,
The
you're
only
right.
people buzzing about Wonder Woman are Tom King
You're
fans.
right.
Wonder Woman fans are beside
I
themselves
say
with the
sorry.
quality there. And there is no Justice League, so I don't know. We hardly even knew you, Dawn of DC. You came here, you didn't really do anything. I don't think there was a message there. If you personally liked Dawn of DC and you thought this was amazing, I would definitely like to hear from you guys. What did you think was so amazing about Dawn of DC? Because I don't really see anything out
So
there
many times
other than a
Iron Man
string of
nearly
really
died
bad
when Wonder
event
Boy has
series
had massive
with
plot
one pretty
armor.
darn good one that nobody even paid attention to. I couldn't even do a video here on the channel that people wanted to watch based on Beast World because no one actually cared that it was even going on at the time. If you want more coverage of comic books that
Damn.
this YouTube channel can't handle, I do happen to have a whole lot of podcasts out there on my Patreon featuring some of your favorite guests like Doc, Aaron Sparrow, Jim from Weird Science, 32 Flavors, Nick Weiser, yours truly, if you're a fan of mine as well. Every single week, we give you 8 hours of new stuff all about comic books. If you haven't checked that out, it is for the super duper fan. There's a link in the video.
Okay, so with that said, this was Wes. Thinking Critical for the whole Dawn of DC is coming to an end. And it didn't successfully do what it was supposed to do, so who's surprised? But anyway, like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. If you guys like this, please follow and all that great stuff. And I'd like to see you guys tomorrow, for those who are here. And hit that ring, hit the bell, and all that great stuff. So, thank you. Oh, and also subscribe to Wes if you can. He makes great stuff. Wait, why is this not subscribed? What the hell? I didn't say I wasn't subscribed to him. Did they unsubscribe me? I hate when YouTube does that. Whatever. What's your question, Dev? Okay, guys. So the next one is new Marvel villain is an. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say that on stream, but like who erases women from comic books. You know who's writing this? I'm pretty much an activist at some point, and it won't sell. I bet you it won't sell. Anyway, so Clownfish TV is doing a story on this. We got 2 videos from Clownfish. Is this one and localizing? I've been wanting to hearing about the whole localizing situation. I've been hearing that Crunchyroll. Okay. I'll give you a freebie on this because I only answer questions. I just realized.
Oh boy, this'll be fun.
I only answer questions to my students, but I'll give you a freebie on this. So to answer your question, when sketching, is it better to be more detailed like body or more broken down like square-ish? I don't know what that means.
I am going to
No,
look up Clownfish TV stuff once I'm done listening to your stream.
Sure. So yeah, to answer your question, squares and hair. So okay, so when you're doing first the first one to answer is the sketch. So when you're doing sketches, the sketch is not supposed to be super detailed. What if you're first starting off doing the sketch? Let's say you're doing a drawing of like, I don't know, let's say Goku. Let's use that as an example. when you first do the initial sketch, it's not supposed to look perfect and it's not supposed to be super detailed. The initial sketch is supposed to be a overall concept of what you're trying to convey, okay? So think of it as the first draft of what you're trying to do, right? And then the second draft is supposed to be a cleaner version of what that is. Now, that is not the line art, so don't get that confused. So there's the messy sketch, the clean sketch, and then a cleaner sketch, and then you do the line art. Yeah, but you don't, because most beginners can't do, or even novice can't do. Well, I think that's the same. Most can't do that on the first and second try. On like they can't do a first draft. Yeah, you can't do a whole draft one and then go to line art. A lot of you fall into a situation where the drawing will look stiff, it doesn't look right, all that great stuff. This is what happens to the previous Robin drawing I was doing of Robin. This is my first draft of Robin when I drew her. I initially was going to go with this drawing, but the way it looks too robotic compared to this one. So I went back to drawing board and did this one. This feels a little more dynamic, a little bit more fun, a little more playful, a little bit more, more Robin in that sense, based on the One Piece show, right? So once I did the first, when I started over, right? This is, let me show you.
It might also be because it's a gesture drawing which you're always telling us to avoid, lol.
Yes, it's always do the gesture. So this is the gesture. This is the gesture drawing, right? It's the messy sketch. It's what it's supposed to be with the overall concept. And then after that, we do the second
The first
draft.
one is Westworld Robin, if you know the series Yahoha.
Yes, it's like this is the second draft of this. So we have the overall idea. And then what we'll do is the line art. As I'm doing the line art, a lot of people tend to make this big mistake with line art, is that when you're doing the line art is that you have to make sure you're having your line weight come into play. So what I mean by this is you're supposed to use about 4 brushes. So four sizes of the same brush. So like you have between 8, 5, 6, and 7. 4, 5, 6, and 4, 5, 6. No, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Those are the sizes. Now, you must be wondering, why do I have to have 8 different sizes? 4 different sizes. The reason why is because if you're drawing outside of the character, you use a thicker brush, and when you're drawing inside the character, you use more thinner lines. It gives dynamicism to the drawing, because if you start doing the drawing with a bunch of the same line weight, it's going to look really tacky, strange, and it's not going to look it's going to look less unified than you think. So that's what I'm doing. So you might notice this, like for instance, the hair here looks thicker than that of the dress a little bit. You can see it right here. It's really thick here, but it's really thin here. It's because the inside of the dress will be thin lined. Now, because the breast is overlapping the hair, I would thicken the outside of the breast here and here, but inside I'll keep it thin. This is something you guys will learn later on if you know anything called primary shapes, secondary shapes, and tertiary shapes. Primary shapes is the overall shape, the overall idea of what you're drawing. Secondary shapes is pieces of the shape that makes up the primary shape. So like the arm, the breast, the stomach, the legs, these are pieces that make up the whole shape.
I know all of them except for that last shape.
And then the tertiary shape is basically the details. The details are like the smaller shapes that doesn't make a significant difference in, say, like the outline or anything, but it gives it depth. So the little lines that you see here, all these sketch lines, are what I'm talking about. And then we put line weight on them based on how if it's inside the character or outside the character. So that's what's very important to keep in mind, or something like that. But to answer your question with the squares, the only time you should use squares is when you're doing perspectives, because if you're trying to make your character do a certain perspective, like pose, that's where that comes in. Okay, so like if you have your character being watched from a down top perspective, like we're up in the air, we're looking down our character, we would use squares to keep it more precise. But if we're having a character that's we're looking at directly in front of us like this, we wouldn't even use squares. It's not that serious unless it's like more for the hand, the head's placement, and that's it. Everything else is looking directly at us, so we don't really need the squares, right? The only time is when there's a tilting of the hand or the tilting of the head. That's when you ever have to use squares, if they're looking directly at you on a static pose. Okay, if that makes sense. But whenever the pose is dynamic with the perspective, that's when squares really comes into play. You don't use squares for like something as basic as like a frontward pose like this. It's just, there's no real need for it, or so. You should use more softer shapes.
Why do you call it a static pose?
It's static because well, this is more static if you think of it, because it's very balanced. It's just very blah. It's not like you're doing a cool move where we're looking from a top-down angle and Goku's supposed to shoot like a giant Kamehameha wave from an angle that is not a traditional angle, or a unconventional angle, or a asymmetrical angle. So, right, this is a symmetrical angle based on that we can look directly at it if we're talking about perspective wise. But if we're looking top down on the character, so like, let me use an example, because this is static because it's kind of like face forward. But if I were to draw the character more like this, like if I drew the character like this, but I wanted her to look more dynamic, let's just say I made her breast like this, and start layering everything from that point. This is more dynamic now compared to that, because now the character, we're looking at them from a more of a down shot. We have a down shot on this character. This is more dynamic, even though there's nothing happening within the pose because of the placement of the camera, which is us. We're looking from them from a top down perspective, right? So what's going to happen is our horizon line will be over their head. The only time the horizon line will be bottom of that is if we're looking from a mouse perspective. We're looking from a bird's eye view of their body. So like, I'm not even drawing the body too well in this, but overall it gets the point across. So this is what makes it dynamic, because we're looking down on top of our character than looking directly at them. This is more of a dynamic, interesting pose than something like this. Believe it or not. The only thing that makes this interesting is the pose itself, not the camera, because the camera is directly looking at us. So there's no, you have to think about it. I hope that makes sense. I hope that was not too much information, but that was a freebie. I hope that answers your question. All right. So, yeah. Any more questions? You have to be a student. So, I hope that helped.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon.
Oh, sorry.
I'm here with...
So, I didn't want that to be part of the video. So, guys, this is Clownfish TV. They're going to mention a new Marvel villain, which is obviously for activist reasons. And we're going to see what they're talking about. I would like to say the word, but I don't know if that's going to be flagged by YouTube, Twitch, and Trovo, and Kick, and TikTok if I say it. So, new Marvel villain is that word.
Since you have officially hooked me on that Clownfish TV.
No problem. I know, they're really good at what they do. Who erases women from comic books. So let's see what Clownfish has to say.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
Geeky Sparkles is a woman in comics. Geeky Sparkles has written comic books that have sold 6 figures in crowdfunding on multiple occasions. So you have to listen to her.
Colors on Disney Comics before too.
Yeah,
we're on that too.
That's a whole nother thing. So she's been a
started
woman in
watching that
comics for
LOL.
years. So you have to listen to her. I'm telling you, you have to listen to her. We're
Right,
going to talk about
podcast.
women in comics. We're going to talk about Gail Simone, and we're going to talk about how Gail Simone seems to think it's still 2017 because, haha, it's so cute. There's a comic out there. It's the Women of Marvel 2024 edition, and we basically have some four-armed chud who wants to get rid of all the women in the Marvel universe, and then he jokes about apparently being online too much.
Which is ironic coming from Gail Simone.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because Gail Simone tweets often.
Constantly.
Yes.
Constantly.
Constantly. And she's got
Odd.
me blocked, by the way. I'm
Not
blocked.
me.
Doesn't have, because you're a woman in comics.
Right.
Even if she hates you, she has to.
She doesn't have to.
To make sure
She
she
tried
doesn't
to go
be
after
blocked.
me once, and that did not go well for her.
So, yeah, that is true. She did try to get into it with Gigi, and it doesn't go well for anyone who tries to get into it with Gigi. Trust me, I know. I know my place. So, are we going to talk about this?
Yes, let's.
Let's talk about this one. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So Gail Simone, I had a sliver, the tiniest sliver of hope. They're actually going to reboot the X-Men. They're going to get rid of the Krakoan era, and Gail Simone's going to be writing one of the books, I guess. Well, that all hope is abated at this point because Gail Simone still thinks it's 2017.
Oh God.
So this article is coming from Bleeding Cool. This is what happens when Gail Simone gets rid of the women of Marvel.
In this case, it was never.
She still thinks it's 2017.
New supervillain, the Mitigator. And
The
the
Mitigator?
Mitigator is like,
I'm surprised they didn't go with Misoginator.
he should have. The Ejaculator. Yeah, so in this Women of Marvel 2024
support hero
book,
today.
this guy wants to
By
see a
using
world
commands
without
like
females.
/donation and
Okay.
/cash app.
Visions doesn't have the Krakoan era, and Gail Simone's gonna be like,
I'm surprised they didn't go with Misoginator.
he should have. So in this Women of Marvel 2024 book, this guy wants to see a world without females.
Why?
Okay.
A world without females.
It'd be a lot quieter.
It will be a lot quieter. I'm not gonna
You're
lie.
allowed to say that. I can't say
it's
that.
true.
No, it would be.
It's true.
Yeah, some people don't seem to like prominent women in Marvel comic
Oh,
books.
for fuck's sake. No, I love how it's always some people, you mean men, but women don't buy them either. I'm just pointing out. And they have the Ms. Marvel logo on the one there.
That's
God.
what I'm saying. I don't think women buy books just because there's a woman on it. Like that. Maybe feminists do, but I don't think women buy books like that just because there's a bunch of women on it. I honestly don't think so. I think that actually turns off more women than it does do work. I think more women likes to buy books with men on it. Yeah, well, if you're about that life. But I'm just saying, I think most don't get all that excited just because it's written by a woman or is a bunch of women in the title, or it's showcasing a bunch of women in said game or said movie or comic book or anything. I don't think that gets women all excited to go and separate themselves from their cash for that. I just don't think so.
So he gets rid of all the women from
That
the
was
comic
embarrassing.
books.
Okay.
And
I
the
just
books
saw
go
the AI
back to
version
the
of
same
Willy
old
Wonka.
Wolverine. No one in Gambit instead of Rogue and Gambit, and Blank Force instead of A Force. Same
Isn't
old
that-
Wolverine, because they have Laura in it now, right? No
I'm
one
sorry,
in
this
Gambit.
is not even funny. It's just stupid. It's like, it's just dumb.
And then Rich Johnson's like, I'm sure some people would be down with that. And then laying out the plan for many more mutants on a destroyed Earth, but with another planet still existing. So, swings and roundabouts.
Just stupid. Is
Unless
what it
it's one
is.
of those
Oh my God,
romance
so this is the
novels,
guy,
and
this
you
is the
know
guy
the
going
ones
on.
I'm
Think
talking
of it.
about.
King
Yes.
Pride never exists, so the world is hit by a planet-sized bullet. Dark Phoenix never exists, so a planet of broccoli people
So
survives.
basically, it's just we want to make sure that we think if you didn't have women in the comics, you wouldn't have these things. Like, really? Come on. This
Well,
is just stupid.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to push the idea that if they were to erase superhero females without their particular powers, something would have went catastrophically wrong without them.
OMG. Hi.
That's the problem. Hello, Moonlight. What's going on, hon? Welcome back. That's what they're trying to say here. But that's no more different if we were to erase men in comic books. So if we erased, like, say, Superman, I'm pretty sure a bunch of bad things would have happened without Superman in
back.
their thing. So
Hurrah.
it's the same It's the same argument. So I don't see what's the point here. Men and women need each other, whether you like it or not. We need each other, right? We need to be good to one another. We need one another. We need each other's outlets, both good and bad, right? That what makes us different between each other. Not only just of like ideology or whatever, but we need one another, right? Humans need each other as much as we don't want to admit that, but it's true. So saying that what would happen if
It's been so long.
I know, right? We're doing a podcast.
Honestly, with the amount of super-powered people from either gender, someone would be able to replace the lost person.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. Right? It's not like it's not like there's not a bunch of mutants that don't have similar like powers to each other, right? Or power sets. Maybe one mutant can like pull lava as the other one can shoot pyronetics, right? Which pyro exists, right? In the X-Men universe, right? So like there's a lot let's take like Captain Marvel, right? Let's erase Captain Marvel out of existence. Thor still exists. Hulk still exists. The Vision still exists, right? So that's so I don't see where the argument's coming from. Just because you erase a hero, therefore, world as it is going to go left. You know what I'm saying? That's just now how that works, right? Now I'm not saying is this a justification for the women in the story to be erased? No, I don't want them to be erased. I want them to stay, but it has to make sense to the argument, right? But just erasing them is not enough to say, look how much of a difference will it be. It probably will make a difference to a certain extent, but I don't think that big of a event if you think of it. Like it's like Thanos literally snapping everyone. He destroyed half the universe, right? He killed both men and women alike, and you know it didn't do anything good for anyone. So I don't know what's the argument here.
Think about all the women on that planet of broccoli people that are happy that Dark Phoenix never existed.
Yes.
I miss
Wanda,
your voice.
isn't there
Meow.
to say no more?
Oh, thank you. Oh.
Yeah, Wanda isn't there to say no more mutants, so we get a lot more mutants. Wait, what? Who is this guy? Spider-Man loses no one from a fall, and neither does he hit the jackpot tiger. Yeah, well, they ruined MJ. They turned her into a superhero now, too, called Jackpot. And Spider-Man was furious for entirely different reasons, I guess. But why does he find himself in this position?
LMAO rolling
you
on
still
the
haven't
floor
said why,
laughing,
Mitigator.
OMG.
I've been
now why
online a
teachers
lot
hooked on these. This Willy Wonka one is insane.
Oh God.
Lately. I
Boarding
suppose you want
school
me to
was a
send you
bummer.
back. Yes, please.
I'm pretty sure. I know you're doing the whole boarding school thing. I hope you're doing well in boarding school. I hope it's not too much of a big transition for you.
I've been online a lot because it's basically the
What the
nasty men who don't like women in comics and don't buy their books. But no one buys the books. That's the problem. And he's online ranting all the time. Says Gail Simone, who's also online ranting constantly. She's like constantly on Twitter.
How
all
many
the time? Are you sure you aren't the mitigator, Gail?
How many tweets has Gail Simone tweeted today?
Well, refresh it first because
I
you
miss
had this
her
open
so
for a bit.
much.
I'm sure it's
Okay.
more now.
So I can still see her. Gail, you
Glad
have
that
me
you're
blocked
back,
on
hon.
Clownfish TV. You do have me blocked personally, and I've never done a damn thing to you. But there we go. All right, 6 hours ago. This is, the Women of Marvel. I'm sure everybody
Meow.
can't wait to get their
Savage.
hands on this
Awesome.
misogynist, snapping
Always
women
on.
from the Marvel Universe. 41 minutes ago,
Okay.
an hour ago, an hour ago, an hour ago, 3 hours ago. When does she write? 3 hours ago, 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 3 hours ago.
Oh my
3
God.
hours ago, 3 hours ago. Holy
She posted all that in 3 hours? She needs to get off that internet. Jesus Christ.
shit, Gail.
4 hours ago.
4 hours ago. Now we're on. Now we're into another hour. 4 hours ago. 4 hours ago. 5 hours.
Level up
Bro,
your gaming space
get off
with
the
metal
internet.
posters from Displate.
That's crazy.
Hang your
That's
Displates in
crazy.
seconds. Swap them whenever you
5 hours.
Oh
Does
my
she
gosh.
sleep? 5
Yes.
hours. Oh, 19 hours. So there, she
No,
slept.
6 hours right here.
I'm doing
Oh,
the artwork
shit, okay.
of
Oh, she
Nico Robin
reposted
right
that.
now.
6 hours ago.
It's
6
a-
hours ago. 8
it's a-
hours
what do you
ago.
call it?
7 hours ago. 12 hours ago.
So that
Okay.
was the
commission.
way she slept.
So she got like 4 hours of sleep?
Wow,
But
that's
yes,
crazy.
misogynistic men who hate women who tweet all day or online all
Holy
day.
Dang, that made my fingers
hell,
hurt.
Gail. Seriously. Yeah. So, I gotta
I
tell
know,
you,
Jesus,
I don't
that's
have
too
any hope
much.
for her X-Men. This is just one day's worth of. This is look.
So she was
one
posting one after the other within the same hour. So within so if she was posting at 1, so if she's what? A2. No, you can't ask for mod. You're not gonna get for mod because you ask. I'll never give it to anyone who asks. So that's just out the window. You're not getting mod because you ask, and that's gonna make it any more problematic for you if you wanted mod. You're not gonna get mod because you ask. I'm not gonna give to anyone mod because they asked. Then I'll just ban you by then. It won't be no year 4. It would just be a banning. Because if you can't follow directions, why are you here? Shit.
I remember when I had a bad day and I couldn't co-op. I remembered your cute whittle rap.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Days worth of tweets by Gail Simone.
You remember that? What the hell?
We're still going.
That's crazy. I didn't think anyone remember that.
I'd go back to here like a day out.
Oh my god.
Oh my
I'm
god.
trying to go 24 hours ago. We're 19 hours ago, 20 hours up, Trump up. There's that Wonka thing. Okay, that's pretty funny.
Let's go.
20 hours.
Oh, you have to be over here on
hours
YouTube and
getting
Twitch
to
to hear
day
it
one.
from Twitch, from TikTok, because
Oh,
we're
now
doing a
you're on
podcast.
yesterday.
Okay.
Or now you're 24 hours ago.
A reactionary
That's-
I
podcast.
challenge you.
Okay, starting here and working backwards.
We're not counting them all. But
One day of tweets, 24 hours of tweets from Gail Simone.
I remember
who
when I had
says
a bad
this
day
guy
and I
is
couldn't
online
co-op.
too much,
Right.
I remember your cute
and
little
that
WAP.
women should be snapped
I
from
challenge you.
comic
You
books.
challenge
And
me.
it's clearly
What?
a play on the whole all these men who don't like women in comics bullshit. Because that's not what they're saying.
That's
we
not
don't
what they're
like
saying.
we don't like shitty stories.
People want Rogue's ass back in comics.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that could have been it. Yeah, Gale would have been a lot funnier if he might have snapped Rogue, but would have been Rogue's ass in Gambit.
That Rogue
Make
would
a
be
rap
gone,
and
so it
put
wouldn't
moonlight
matter.
in
No,
it.
just her ass would remain. Maybe she had implants.
Just the
I don't
cheeks.
know
Just the cheeks.
anything about
Yeah.
rapping. To
The
be
cheeks
honest.
in Gambit. But
This is
Buddy.
stupid. It's
This
like
is-
and the bad guy's a misogynist who hates women and is online too much.
I
You
can't.
can't even write. I mean, this is like so stupid. It's just as a woman, this is stupid. Like if I want to hear a story about women in Marvel, I want to hear women in Marvel doing something awesome. I don't want this because it's just fucking stupid.
I can't. So she's gonna be in charge of the X-Men, guys.
Yay.
Just so you know.
Oh,
and
God.
it's funny because everybody was talking about how they thought Marvel was gonna change the X-Men to be like the X-Thems or something. And
Oh, no.
historically, half the team, or at least when the book was most popular, what was female. And you know what? We all loved it. We all loved the book. We love Storm. We love Rogue. We like Kitty Pryde.
Well, that's just common sense. But you know, it's because you have a penis. And you hate women, and you want them all gone, and you talk. By the way, that person's crotch looks doesn't look like they have a penis at all. And you look,
Kitty
look
Pryde.
look at him. That looks like a woman's body
Can
for
you do
what?
it?
I mean, minus there's no boobs, but there's no.
I can't do it.
Bulge of
I'm not
any
gonna
kind.
lie to you. I'm not
Are
gonna
you
lie to on
saying that trans men are bigots against women? Is that
Well,
what you're
maybe
saying?
that's a trans man. That's the only thing I can think of.
Is that what you're saying? Because that's
Forearm
problematic.
men are apparently bigots against women.
I do like the coloring. I have to give props to the colors, though. I do actually like the coloring with the dot patterns and stuff. That's actually pretty cool. But yeah, this is such a 2017 take. Like, what fucking year are we in? You know, for all this talk of like, hey, everybody, we need to get together. And I guess Gail's been trying to, rebrand herself or something. We all need to get together to fix comics. I'm like, well, antagonizing people like this
No.
ain't gonna fix shit.
No.
Well, if you're irritated, you're the right kind of person because you're the one that I was going after. So I'm a woman. I
I
think
know
you're
it
full of
just
shit.
came naturally.
Yeah,
didn't
you're the
it?
one who
I'm a
Smiley
ginger, and I
face.
think you're
Yeah,
full
I
of
did.
shit.
You're the one who wanted to do the video.
Yeah, because
Like I mentioned it to you, you're like, what the hell?
I'm so tired of it. It's so boring, and it's so.
It is boring.
It's like people trying to think that they're funny, but they're not funny. But like they're like old people funny, like. And they're like, you know what I mean? And they're making jokes. And most people are like, what?
Oh my God.
They think they're hilarious, but their jokes are stupid.
Like dad jokes. But what's the female equivalent of like a dad joke? Oh, it'd be hilarious is if that was your tagline for her X-Men run. Be like, it's like an old person thinking they're funny, but they're not funny.
That's what this it's like.
Read the X-Men. Yeah.
Like, we're gonna show you, ha 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 ha. And it's like, but it's stupid. It's not even clever. It's not even.
I can't.
Did you like? I mean, I guess when you only have time to squeeze it in between tweets. I mean, but I can't expect intelligence. But it's like not even. I mean, these are some of the pages. I don't see the whole thing. Maybe it's better in places. But what I'm seeing here is very intellectually challenged. It's just stupid. It's just downright stupid. It's like, we think we're so funny, but you just look like idiots. You really, truly do. It's not even, and it took 3 of you to do this?
Wait, he's got like one eye. Is he a one-eyed monster?
Oh my God, probably. 3 of you? It took 3 of you to come up with this.
Fuck. I like, look, any hope I had for the X-Men to be quasi decent, it's just gone. And Gail can be good. Like, she used to write some good stuff back in the day, but then
you wouldn't know it by this.
Then she discovered Twitter, and all of her energy goes into Twitter. She spends more time writing Twitter than writing her scripts. I guarantee you there are a lot more words on Twitter in the last 24 hours than there is in this whole damn book.
I believe you.
They're missing the point. They're missing the point too. They're like, well, if we didn't have women, these things wouldn't. Kitty Pryde wouldn't have this, and Dark Phoenix wouldn't have that. That they're not the problem, though.
No.
These stories, the ones you're talking about, are older stories. The problem is the new stories. The problem is you have the Ms. Marvel on there. Ms. Marvel doesn't sell, and you had to reboot it how many times?
Yeah.
The problem is the fact that they've taken characters and they've changed them over and over again. People aren't mad about female superheroes. They're not mad about the stories. They're just mad about the stupid, dumbass decisions that are self-inserts of recent year. And like the X-Men gala and all that stupidity.
Oh, yes, the gala.
All the recent. Right,
They need to get rid of that. That thing is stupid.
They're not liking. It's not that they don't like women in comics. That's a bunch of shit.
Oh my.
So
They need to get rid of that gala thing. That thing is stupid. Beyond stupid.
this is like not even the point. This isn't even on to the point that's a real actual one.
Okay.
This just hurts. It's so stupid.
You know what would be funny? What would be legitimately funny is if this son of a bitch snaps Ms. Marvel, and then they start the book again. He's like, oh, shit, I thought I got rid of her. And then he snaps it again, and then they start it again.
Oh my God, that's what happened.
He'd be
That's probably what happened. That's probably why they keep thinking it's a good idea to reboot it.
It's like, oh my God, I can't get rid of her. What the hell? Oh my God, guys.
Like
I'm
Dr.
just
Strange.
going to give up. I'm not going to get rid of any more women in Marvel because
Dr.
I can't
Strange.
get rid of Ms. Marvel and Carol Danvers. No matter how hard I try, I fucking give up.
This is I can't even. And then they're all applauding themselves and patting themselves in the back, and I'm like, for what?
This is like a Tumblr comic. Like this
That's
is
what I'm
like
saying.
Like
You
what
lose
the fuck?
IQ points by reading this.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I saw his link floating around. I'm like, this is freaking ridiculous. And again, if this is the mindset that Gail is in right now, her X-Men run is gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
Well, the
ass.
ones, Ms. Nothing. It's like,
Yeah, fuck this. All right, that's coming from a woman in comics, right? You can
I'll say
fuck
it.
this.
This is just sad. This is sad.
There you go.
You can try harder. This is not even. You know why? You know why I don't want your comics? Because this is the shit you're putting out. It's not even good. It's
I'll
not even
ask
funny.
you some questions.
Just
Okay,
slap
and you
yourself.
gotta
'Cause
answer
you're
them.
dumb. I don't know what to tell you.
That
Just go
depends.
fridge this, Gail.
Ooh.
That's the pets.
I got
but
that right.
I'll try to answer
I'm
as
just
best as I
tired.
can.
It's so stupid.
Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
All right, that was Clownfish. Like, subscribe, share, fun, comment to them. They're a great mom pop crew who does the whole news and entertainment business, and we're going to do another video from them of localizers about anime. But like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment, and hit that bell whenever you can. So thank you, and please subscribe to them. It'll be cool, and give them a like. All right, laters. Okay, we got one last video, and then we'll have to stop the stream. I might actually get on again.
What's the opposite of you?
What's the opposite of me? You mean like what's opposite to my personality? What kind of question is that? Let's see here. I gotta move fast. Okay, so let's get around to the next video. So Clownfish TV has a video called "Localizers Getting Replaced with AI." Crunchyroll CEO confirms. Uh-oh. And remember, it doesn't just stop there. Always remember that. It never just stops right there, right? It gets...
No, no, instead of saying me what can you say?
Wait, I'm confused. Let me see. What's the opposite of you? Oh, okay, no. Oh, no, instead of saying me, what can you say? What's the opposite of you? Isn't the opposite of you them? Or they? Right? If I'm
Which
getting
organ used for seeing? I'm
Oh,
shocked,
I.
shocked, well, not that shocked.
Yeah, I'm not that shocked. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right, Bri. I'm not that shocked either. It was kind of expected.
Good job,
There you
honey.
go. Thank you. I think I got that. Sorry, my brain wasn't like computing that at the time. Okay, so let's see what they say. Localizers get replaced by AI. Kind of saw that coming. And you remember, nothing stays where it is.
Opposite of hate.
So love. Oh, you're gonna say I love you. I think that's what you're trying to get me to say. I think I caught on to that pretty fast. Or you got me to say I love Moonlight or something. So like, let's see. So this is what happens. Localizers get replaced by AI by Crunchyroll confirms.
Is this about the anime that gets replaced by AI?
No, it's just in general. They're thinking of taking localizers and just completely, absolutely replace localizers with clownfish TV, with AI to do the localizing of anime from now on. Well, I'm not feeling bad for them. If they wanted to put woke and crazy topics in, well, you got what you wanted.
I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Cost you a job now.
And we have some bad news for Western anime localizers. Yeah, the CEO of Crunchyroll coming right out and saying it.
Yes, this one is
We're going to use AI-generated subtitles. They're definitely an area we're focusing on, and I guarantee you they're also going to use AI voices and whatever they can do to cut out the middleman, and you localizers being the middleman, you dub actors being the middleman. Look, I'm not being like, you're all losing your jobs, but there are some people working in this industry
who needs to
that
lose
really
them.
think too highly of themselves, and it looks like they're going to be taken out.
For those of you, this is a get back or a got back for those who went after Vic Mignogna.
I'm gonna try to
Equation
trick you to say
per
purple.
the boss of Crunchyroll.
I can see them like doing the AI
purple?
and then turning around, and they had some good ones. They knew that we're actually trying to stay true to the source, and they brought them in to do a couple of fixes and tweaks here and there.
Could you punch it up a little bit, make it make more sense in English without injecting politics, without changing the entire?
But these are the guidelines. This is what it says. Can you just make it a little more, understandable to Western audiences without changing everything about it because you're ass mad over it.
Right, and this is coming about a month after there was all kinds of controversy about localizers inserting their own politics into translations, into dubs.
Okay,
and then again,
let's do this.
when they brought the U.S.
What color is the sky?
Blue.
Transformers cartoon to Japan, they took out the non-binary stuff out of it.
Yeah, that was really interesting. So what they did as an excuse, they said, well, we edit these shows for time in Japan. We don't have as much time. So we had to take that whole scene out where they explain why I think it's Nightbird. I think it was Nightbird or Nighthawk or whatever.
What color is the grass?
Whatever, they, them. The they, them transformer, whichever one it is. They had to explain
green,
that they were non-binary and blah, blah, blah. Well, that whole scene got cut.
No one cares.
And then they refer to that transformer as a dude for the rest of the show.
Well, technically they all are non-binary, but that's a whole other argument.
Technically,
they're robots.
Yes, it depends on if you listen to the Marvel comics, but it didn't need to be like this is a show where
what color
robots
is your hair?
turn into cars and blow shit up, right?
Yeah,
like, do we
black?
Do we need a 5-minute PSA about gender ideology? And it's also a show geared toward younger kids, I think, than previous incarnations of Transformers. So it's probably why it's there. I mean, let's be honest. So let's talk about this. Anyway, let's talk about this. This is pretty big news. This is
Finally,
actually confirmation
what color
because
is
all
your
these
skin?
localizers have been like, no, you chuds, that's not what's going on. They're not going to replace
I'll say light skin.
us, you chuds. You wish you could be like us. You wish you could be like us. Yeah, you're going to be gone soon.
You're not gonna get me to say that one.
I'm sorry. There it is. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
No woohoos.
You said
no
it.
You
woohoos
just told me to woohoo.
Huh?
You just told me to woohoo.
No, I'm saying that they're going to be boohoos, not woohoos at
Oh, okay.
Crunchyroll.
I was like very confused.
I
Like,
mean,
no woohoos. I'm like, you
they're-
just told me. Make up
Did I? I said light skin.
fine, man.
After Sony bought them, man, they just started chopping. They lost their one fancy facility. They're
But then they have two.
they got rid of Funimation. They rolled it into Crunchyroll now. It's just all coming down. It's all crumbling. This is coming from Comic Book Resources. Crunchyroll CEO says AI-generated subtitles are definitely an area we're focused on. This was, I guess this article was in The
Did I
Verge.
really?
And I had a couple people send this to me yesterday and said, yeah, it's going to get real now, guys. But they kind of distill it down here on CBR. Probably AI taking it and distilling it down.
CBR, it's probably true.
Crunchyroll CEO, I think it's Raul Purini, says AI-generated subtitles are an area that the streaming service is currently very focused on testing, perhaps to the dismay of some anime viewing audiences. No, I don't think the anime viewing audiences. I think the localizers,
Wait,
because
what was
they're
the
effectively
challenge?
out of work. So the CEO sat down with The Verge for an hour-long interview where he discussed how Crunchyroll could become a more attractive option for anime fans. One solution was increased development in AI-generated subtitles. AI is definitely something we think a lot about in a lot of different workflows in the organization. Right now, one of the areas we're very focused on testing is subtitles and our closed captioning, where we go from speech to text. How do we improve and optimize our processes where we can get the subtitles done in various languages across the world faster so that we can launch as close to the Japanese release as possible? So that's definitely an area we're focused on.
Which makes sense.
That does make sense. It's not just the speed, but I think if you read between the lines, it's the accuracy. Like, you're going to get an authentic.
Red licorice or black licorice? I say both. Oh, you think you've had licorice?
Subtitled version of the anime, right?
So they think that they're trying to do the subtitles so people aren't going and pirating it.
Why are they pirating it? Sometimes they don't want to pay, and sometimes it's because they don't want the westernized version of it. I mean, that's the truth. Some of the shows just aren't available. I'm going to be honest. There are shows that were available years ago that are no longer available.
LMAO.
Well, he's
Why
talking
you
too about the
giving
fact that
side
it's
eye?
quicker sometimes until they get around to doing the subtitles and stuff. So people might
Wait,
just do it
was I on
because they want to get it quicker, and this way
Wait, was I on mute the entire time? Please tell me I was on mute the entire time. I swear to God.
they could generate the subtitles themselves faster.
Well, it takes time to rewrite the script. It
Yeah, I
takes
know. It
time
takes
to rewrite everything.
It
You
takes
really-
time for one localizer and their 20 friends to go through it all and make sure they got every problematic piece ever.
You have to run every line through Twitter and make sure that it meets your friends, your constituents' expectations. So the quote arose during a conversation about how he hoped to make Crunchyroll more viable than piracy. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. He highlighted the fans' desire to access anime as close to the Japanese release as possible.
And probably as close to the Japanese, intended meaning as possible.
Intended meaning, yeah. Again, sometimes it makes
I have a
sense
poem.
to change things. Like if you've got a character rhyming to Japanese words, it does not make sense in English
cool.
because those words do not rhyme. I can see making some changes in that case. But again, we have localizers inserting politics and gender ideology and all this stuff into what they consider to be problematic work.
It's not
and then they
done
brag
yet.
about it.
Trophy,
brag about it.
congratulations.
High five me, bro. And
You've
then
received 100 messages
suck
today
it,
with
haters.
Rest Green Chat.
So they said, yeah, AI subtitles are proving contentious. Many anime fans were concerned about the low quality subtitles, and the Yuzuki family's Four Sons debut episode, it'll get better, leading some to believe that they had been generated by AI.
Which is possible.
It is possible. Now, actually, back in the day, when we had bootleg anime, some of those subtitles were pretty awful. Like you would get a show that wasn't released in the US and they would they would.
It was in English.
It was in English. I mean, I'm being honest here. It was in English, and some of it, like I know we had the bootleg Sailor Stars release, and we're like, what the hell is this? And it turned out it was actually lifted from like some message board or something, I guess, and it wasn't really polished. It was just a very literal translation. There were misspellings and stuff in it. I'm like, what the hell are we? But we got the basic idea of what was going on, right? It's like, well, that's your own fault, clownfish. You should learn Japanese.
Well, that was like
20 some years ago. It was like 20 some. It was like,
it was a long time ago.
So that's why you want to buy the official releases, right? You don't want to pirate. You don't want to buy bootlegs. You want to buy the official releases.
Well, one, they have to be affordable, and two, they have to be.
Aw. Aw.
Good.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, they might be more affordable now because
that's what they're trying to do.
Fewer people they have to pay.
But, you know, you can run it through an AI thing, but you have to actually have someone go through and check it and make sure it makes sense. I'm like, that's just dumb. That's just lazy.
Yeah. So, speaking of Crunchyroll, throw this in. They're apparently.
Oh, there's their backlash for that. So
there's backlash.
I'm sure there is. I'd be pissed too.
They're apparently going to attempt to compensate Funimation users for the loss of digital libraries. Yeah. So when they absorbed Funimation, and I actually thought it was going to be the other way around, but they basically absorbed Funimation. They're shutting down the Funimation brand. It's over. Funimation's done, right?
Yeah, Funimation would have been the one I kept over Crunchyroll. But
yeah, I thought that was weird. But anyway, it's the same company, right? It's basically the same company, but they got rid of everybody's digital libraries. So if you had a whole bunch of Dragon Ball and My Hero Academia movies, which I think we did, they're gone. But they're going to compensate you apparently. This is yesterday, so it's coming from Gizmodo. The anime streamer's recent decision to do away with Funimation came at a high cost for people who build up digital libraries. That's why you want to buy physical copies. Yes. And I think in our case, I think the My Hero Academia, I think we had the physical release.
So my screen he likes to draw,
and that's why we
but
got
when
the.
he
I know
meows,
for
I feel like he
Evangelion
touches
we
my
did,
paw.
but
My paw.
I don't know. Anyway, they said, as we look at the usage of Funimation's digital copies and the number of people that were redeeming those and using them, this is the same guy, same conversation, I think. It was just not a feature that was available on Crunchyroll and isn't on our roadmap, he said. So yeah, Funimation had assured audiences in FAQs that they could be streamed forever. Forever. No, if the company goes out of business, that's it.
Maybe that's why I picked Crunchyroll or Funimation.
That might have been. That might have actually had something to do with it. They might have been like, man, that's a lot of Dragon Ball and shit that we got to keep.
Probably terms and condition caveats. Usually it's the forever as long as the company's around.
Yeah. So yeah, in the same interview, as Purini, I guess, stressed after weeks of backlash, Crunchyroll is now moving to support Funimation subscribers and finding some means of compensation. Probably like, we'll give you a free month of Crunchyroll.
They're probably threatening to sue them or something.
I think there was somebody talked class action lawsuit. I don't know. We're working really hard directly with each customer to ensure that they have an appropriate value for what they got in the digital copy initially. So it could be that they get access to a digital copy on any of the other existing services, and they might not be able, or where they might be able to access it. It could be a discount access to our subscription service so they can get access to the same shows. So what they'll be like, yeah, we'll give you like $10 off your subscription because we have this movie on our service.
I cannot believe how many
but it's not the same as owning it. But you never really owned it. That's people don't understand. Like you have a digital copy, you don't actually, unless you actually have a hard copy on your hard drive. If it's sitting on somebody else's server, you're basically leasing access to those files. So they're reaching out to users via Crunchyroll customer service. Yeah, I'm sure they're getting a lot of backlash for that. So they're getting it from all sides here. But here's the thing. I don't know where they're going to go with it because Sony is not doing so great right now. I mean, they just had Madam Web was a huge disaster for them.
Yeah, they just laid off a bunch of people in gaming.
They just laid a bunch of people off in gaming. They're apparently shutting down some live service games. I think Twisted Metal. I'm going to do a video on the gaming channel talking more about this. So they're going to be tightening their belt. So I don't think they're going to like jump through hoops to appease a handful of, in their mind, a handful of people.
Yeah, I'm sure it's more than a handful of people, but
yeah, they're just going to be like.
It's got to be more than a handful of people because they wouldn't be bothering at all.
They'll just give them some money off of.
And I think people are probably threatening to do something, and and I do think that might be why they picked Crunchyroll or Funimation, because then we owe people this as long as that service was in existence. So we get rid of the service, and then we can get rid of all that. But technically, you know, you were the ones who decided to terminate that service. It wasn't like it went under on its own. So that might be what people are going to argue.
Yeah, but it might be in the fine print that, like, if at any point in time we discontinue the service, that means you don't get your stuff. You know, you should have read the fine print, because everybody reads the fine print of every service that they sign up for, right? I mean, always. Somebody did a cartoon one time of the Apple terms of service, and it was like this manifesto graphic novel. It was like, oh my God, I did not realize I was agreeing to this. And it's like, yep, just whatever, just la, sign. Okay, there you go. Boom, done. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. There we go. Boom, done for some translators, I think, for some localizers.
Hopefully they get it fixed. Hopefully they can figure out, you still need at least some people looking at it to make sure, even if the AI does it, that it's accurate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you let Google Gemini do it, I mean, what's going to happen there? You don't know what you're going to end up with. So let's wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
All right. So with that said, like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment.
He says he's ugly. What a mush. And when I riz him, he says I made him blush.
Aw. But, like, for those who are here, like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, follow Clownfish TV, give him a like and all that great stuff. This was the localized game replaced by AI. It was a matter of time, you know, it is what it is. I'm not too surprised by this. You voice actors who destroyed Vic's life, you better watch out. But anyway, so with that said, guys, I'm going to jump off stream a little early today. I might actually get on pretty late tonight.
Did you see the one where the Disney Tower almost burned?
Yeah, I did that video. Already. By Clownfish. It's already out. It's in the if you type in my name and the burning Disney things, it should be out by now. So yeah, I'm going to let me see. Yeah, I have to get off early. I got some stuff to do. So I might be on a little bit later tonight. Maybe I might do a late night stream. Maybe. We'll see. But I have to get off, so I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Maybe I'll be on. If not, then I'll be here tomorrow. So have a great night. Like I said, wait, big lie. Sorry, wait, big lie. I promised I was gonna do I just remembered.
Don't leave me, meow.
Wait, I'm not gonna leave yet. I have to do another video of recommendations for an anime, for a manga for Bri. Hold on, I totally forgot. I almost dropped the hat on that. So let me do that now. Let me type this in. Okay. Manga recommendations. 2 months ago, I read 20 manga. Something lit. Ooh, this looks interesting. This one's 13 minutes.
Flexible financing for vet care with Care Credit.
I don't even know how
the world of manga almost feels
whoa, calm down. Let me see. Copy. How do you even say that? Hold on. How do you pronounce that? What did I just say? Some intelligent civilizations could be trapped on their worlds. Okay, so let me see here.
Yawning, I think I'll sleep in a few minutes, honey.
Hold on.
Arumindes.
That can't be right.
Arumindes.
Nice drawing, BTW.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Arumindes. I think I said that right. It was said right. Thank you. We're doing Nico Robin from One Piece. Yeah, I made sure to make everything clean. Like I said, your teacher can do line art. It's just that I'm lazy. but I've been doing it more often, so I'm not as lazy as I used to be. All right, so Aruman Dez, I'm not familiar with this content creator, but he said, or she said, I don't know if they identify as such, manga recommendations you need to read in 2024. All right, so let's see what they have in store, and then we can really get this party going, just to make sure everything's on point. Let me hit the button here.
The world of manga almost feels endless, and the feeling of discovery.
So let's see what they have to say and what they're recommending. I like the thumbnail; it looks different. Gotcha.
The world of manga almost feels endless, and the feeling of discovering something new is the peak of excitement. So, if you're a manga or anime fan, I think you should watch this video for some awesome and awful manga recommendations that I definitely didn't randomly select for this video. First of all, I want to talk about one of my top favorites of all time, the star of this video, Don. Even though I've already made a YouTube Shorts video about this manga, I can't help myself but to talk about it again because it
no sandwiches today, but we did have cookies.
Truly deserves the attention. But while I was trying to write a script to describe this manga, I realized I can't describe it without sounding crazy.
No, not yet.
And even if I do describe
No, I forgot I was supposed to do at least one recommendation for Bri before I go. I didn't want to forget about him. I almost forgot because I was about to leave.
It would not make sense at all. I mean, come on guys, how on earth can I possibly explain Dandan's story? Takamura doesn't believe in ghosts, but he's obsessed with aliens, and Momo believes in ghosts and not aliens, so they challenge each other to go to these locations that are popular for ghost and alien sightings. And when Ken goes to the said tunnel, he sees an old evil ghost lady called Turbo Granny, who is a perverted horny ghost, which later on in the story turns into a cute little cat, and also she can run pretty fast. While simultaneously there are creepy hentai aliens who want to perform the act of sex for research purposes by extracting Momo's womb, who is a high schooler. Then all of a sudden the boy who now has been cursed by Turbo Granny and has turned into a ghost comes out of the Momo's cell phone and bites off the alien's robotic PP and saves the day by being an even bigger weirdo. Like, really? Let me gobble your schlong? But that's not all. Momo now suddenly has this paranormal telekinesis energy because the aliens overstimulated her brainwaves. Then she fly kicks the alien and it makes the alien ship go boom. Then
what a way to get superpowers. What is about? I got you, Atlas.
Takamura attacks Momo because he can't control his body. Then Momo exercises the evil ghost lady, making it leave the boy's body, but the ghost says she has his schlong, and if you want it back you have to come back to the tunnel, which is really dangerous. And then she develops a crush on my man Takamura while he's semi-naked.
Thank you, Moon, for coming in. I do appreciate it. Ladies.
Naked. I told you there's no way to describe this manga without sounding like a crazy hentai addict. I also have to talk about its art style. Like, how is this manga even weekly? Just tell me how. Dandadan has one of the best arts I've ever seen in a while. So if you haven't read this manga, normally I would say that you should read this, but maybe you can wait a little bit more for the anime, and I have high hopes for it because the studio behind it made the Devilman Cry Baby, which was amazing. But before we move to the next manga, I want to say that be sure to watch till the end because I saved the best one for last. So, let's move on to the next manga, which is Blue Lock. So first of all, I want to talk about
I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of excited for Dandadan. I hope it's good. I hope the anime is good. I know the manga is kind of crazy, so like, I'm hoping that when they animate this show, it's on. We saw the trailer, but like, Jesus, I'm just hoping it really holds up to the manga.
And I have the same question I had for Dandadan. How is this manga weekly? Some of the panels are actually crazy to look at, and it's just plain beautiful art. But besides this amazing art that goes insane of style, I believe Blue Lock has only one goal and one.
I'm not gonna lie, Blue Lock goes hard. Like, for some weird reason, the art looks better on. I genuinely believe that Blue Lock's manga art looks better. Aw, well, cool.
Trust me.
I believe that. Let me see. Trust. It is Teach. Trust me. Okay, I got you. I believe in Bri. I believe in Bri. Well, I tell you something. I believe in you, Bri. I hope. I don't even have to hope. I believe it's gonna be good. If you say it's gonna be good, I believe it's gonna be good. But the thing is with Blue Lock, it's weird to me. Like, I find Blue Lock's art much better than the anime. I feel like the manga does a better job at the art than the actual anime. I'm not saying the anime sucks or anything like that. I know that the art is still it's still crisp, but like, there's something about the anime that's better than. I mean, the manga better than the anime, in my opinion. Honestly, I just think it looks a lot better.
Goal only, and it's to
manga.
entertain the reader. And boy, do I have good news for you, because this manga manages to do exactly that flawlessly. I have so much fun reading this manga, and I just love it. And one other thing I really love about this manga is how every character is unique. I ask so many Blue Lock fans about their favorite character, and each time people say different characters, and that just shows how good the writings and the designs of the characters are. Personally, my favorite Blue Lock characters are Rin, Nagi, Hiyori, and Bachira, and the fact that none of them are the main character is wild. Also, let me know in the comments who is your favorite Blue Lock character. But yeah, even though the story is real simple, I'd say it's real hype. Don't sleep on it if you haven't read its manga or watched its anime. I know it can be a little bit silly, but that's the fun of the manga. Now let's talk about another manga that I read recently and I really enjoyed, but I had an incident with which kinda broke my heart. So much so that I made a YouTube short video about it that you can watch, but the long story short, first I made a YouTube short video about this manga called Sakamoto Days, and Shueisha copyright struck my video, which was unfair. That's why I was hesitant on making this video. But I said, you know what, f them corpos. But no, seriously, I hope they don't strike me for this video, because I really like talking about manga and anime and manhwa games. But anyway, yeah, Sakamoto Days is great. Another action-packed shonen manga with a decent story and a ton of interesting characters. Imagine if John Wick was an overweight Japanese man, but somehow even more badass. So if you haven't read this manga, I highly recommend it. Go read it. Now here's another action-packed shonen manga about assassins called Kindergarten Wars. The teachers in this kindergarten, which is considered as the safest place, are all former assassins and hitmen, and their job is to protect the kids of global elites and kids of CEOs and celebrities. At first glance, you might think that this is a very cute manga, which is true for most part, but it also gets really bloody. And I have to say that I really like the main character. She's a psychopath assassin who is looking for a handsome boyfriend. Don't you find a cute girl brutally murdering young handsome boys who are also assassins just because they don't watch movies hilarious? But I can't stop reading it. It's genuinely fun. Okay, now the next manga that I'm going to talk about is a bit heavy, and it's not really a fun to read manga because it tells an extreme story of a weird creepy boy's mistakes. And I'm talking about Onani Master Kurosawa. The manga starts by one of the weirdest panels I've ever seen. Literally in the first panel of the first chapter of the manga, we see Kurosawa, who is the main character, in girls' toilet of his high school doing something disgusting. I can't go into details here, but he's basically pleasuring himself by imagining his girl classmates. I know what you're thinking. Armin, what the fuck is this manga? Listen to me, let this manga cook. Because I was in your place before reading this, and the thought of how this manga can be good made me actually read it. I was curious. And it's debatable if this manga is good or not, or is worth reading. You see, it's really hard to actually describe this manga and defend it, because the main plot of the story is really extreme, and it's about sexual harassment. A disgusting and awful action which no one should condone, by the way, but we can try to acknowledge the type of message.
But is it a comedy? Because it sounds like a comedy, but I'm not sure.
This manga is trying to convey. Forgiving. Now, whether or not we should forgive sexual harassment is a whole nother talk, but the way I see it, it's about if the criminal regrets their choices and have changed for better. Also, Kurosawa
I guess not. I don't think it is.
Was a 14-year-old lonely boy who didn't know any better and had no one to guide him through tough times, and he got blackmailed by another outcast weirdo. Even though it's hard to recommend this manga, I'm actually curious about what you guys think of it. Let me know if you have read this manga. Okay, this next manga that I want to talk about is one of those weird ones. Watashi no oto wa reitoku nemutteiru. Or, my husband is sleeping in the freezer. Well, the manga starts by the wife killing her husband, and then she's feeling happy and free and relieved. And you're like, what the hell? I just started reading this, what is going on? Then you soon realize that it's about domestic violence and the wife wanted to save herself. Then after she kills her husband, everything seems okay. But all of a sudden, the day after, her husband comes back to the house without any injuries. That's the whole premise of this manga. It was actually a short manga with 14 chapters, and I was glad that it wasn't any longer than that. This manga had a great start with a great mystery. You're constantly wondering who is this man who looks like her husband. Is it a ghost? Is it a doppelganger? Has the woman gone crazy? Like, what is going on? But slight spoiler alert. Skip ahead if you want to read this manga for yourself, but the plot twist, in my opinion, was so stupid and disappointing and underwhelming. The one thing that I was hoping to not be the answer ended up being the answer and was just Oh my god. But for this amount of chapters, I would say it was a fun experience. The art style was decent. It also kinda reminded me of the manga called
Dragon
Blood on
Balls
the
did.
Tracks, which no, I'm
Dragon
not going
Balls.
to talk about that shit again because I like my
You got
sanity.
Dragon
Now
Balls.
It's time for the greatest manga of all time. Truly, the magnum opus of human history. The manga that redefined the shonen. No. I'm not doing this shit again. I don't have energy for this. But seriously, do you remember Kagurabachi? Somehow it feels like I'm the only one who's reading this. And here's my honest opinion. What the fuck is this? No, but seriously, I have to give credit where the credit is due. The art style is pretty good. And as for the story, the start of this manga is kinda all over the place. You suddenly realize that the MC is looking for some kind of mystical sword, and there are like a lot of Japanese names that they constantly refer to, and you're wondering what the heck they're talking about. And slowly but surely, you start to piece it together and figure out this manga's world design. I mean, the story is not complicated at all, but somehow their narrative is, as I said before, all over the place. And it's quite fast-paced, and so many things start happening back to back. I actually really love the aesthetic of this manga, and the designs and the edginess. It's like Yakuza fights if they had shonen powers, and it's really cool to see because it looks like there are so many interesting powers and ideas put into this manga.
I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't, like, the art doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good. It doesn't look, it doesn't, I don't think it does anything new. Like, it doesn't, like, bring anything, like, different to the table compared to, like, Gacha Kuda or, like, Don the Don or what case may be. But it looks like a competent anime, or at least manga. I'm saying, like, Bachi Kuda, Bachi Kuda, I think it was called. I think it was it what was it called? It's called. Wait, what was it called? Karabachi, Kagurabachi. It looks competent.
Overall, I had fun reading this manga and I'm excited to see where it goes. Next one is one of those weird ones.
Especially
I
the
swear
double
I've been
spread
saying
pages.
Yeah, it looks same. It looks okay.
this for all of them, and it's marriage toxin. We have this MC who is from a clan of assassins who work with poisons and toxins, and he's weirdly dedicated to his job. So one day after work, his sister tells him that grandma wants you to marry and have kids so the clan can live on. But the dude says, hell no, I ain't gonna continue this bloodline. Also, his sister is a lesbian, so she also doesn't want to marry a guy. And one thing leads to another, and the MC figures out that he has to marry to save her sister from a forced marriage, so he gets some help from a weird ass girl who I'm not entirely sure if she's a girl, but anyways, that's the entire premise of Marriage Toxin. Pretty simple and straightforward. I haven't read all of it yet, but the start of this manga was pretty interesting and the art style is also pretty good. Maybe I keep reading it, I don't know. Now let's talk about something that I least expected to be actually good, and it's Z-Man. Not gonna lie, I love the design of the main character, he looks so dope. So the story is about this boy named Jin who looks like your average homeless dude, but he possesses a supernatural ability. He has so much strength because he's actually Zet. I love the part when he's Zetted all over the place. I don't want to reveal too much of the story because it's actually a good story in my opinion. Zetman is one of my favorite anti-heroes and his character is really interesting and entertaining. This manga is really dark because shit happens. I don't know how popular this manga is, but personally I haven't seen anyone talk about it and give it attention it deserves, probably because it has a shitty anime. So don't watch this anime.
I'm pretty sure, I think I've heard of Z-Man before. I think it has a live action show in Japan.
Now, remember how I said I saved the best for last? But this one is actually one of my top favorite mangas of all time. For a reference, here's my 3x3 manga list. So before I say anything about this manga, I want to say that I highly recommend it. And if you want to read it, be sure to pour a cup of tea or a beverage of your choice, then be comfy, and then start reading. Because unlike most of the previous mangas that I talked about in this video, this one is best described as a calm, light, and a bittersweet manga. It is a science fiction slice of life, but there's no spaceships or mechs or aliens or anything like that here. The story is set in a future after an unspecified disaster that made the sea levels rise, resulting in declining of humanity. And we see our main character named Alpha, who is a unique type of robot who is capable of feeling emotions. She runs a small coffee shop called Cafe Alpha, and she's waiting for her owner to come back after she went on a mysterious journey. And throughout the story, we see Alpha's journey on how she makes new friends and meets the old ones. And and each time she learns or experiences something new, something sweet. One thing I really like about this manga is how it can easily transfer this bittersweet emotion to the readers. From life lessons Alpha comes across to the calm and peaceful environment and the serene art style and its heartwarming moments that the characters make. I love Alpha's character. She has this childlike innocence with a mixture of ladylike maturity. Her design, just like many other characters in this series, is simple but at the same time deeply expressive.
You know what he just literally said without saying it? He said ladylike maturity. But he literally said not American.
I know I can't keep talking about this manga in this video despite how much I want to. That's why I really want to make an exclusive video just for this manga and talk a bit more about it because it's truly special. So I highly recommend Yokohama Kaida Shikiko or Yokohama Shopping List to anyone who's looking for something calm and heartwarming. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. I think I'm gonna keep making this type of videos talking about mangas and manhwa and stuff because I really enjoy it. There are so many other mangas and manhwas I want to talk about, and even some games, and I want to share my experience with you guys. But if you're still watching, I want to let you know that I am super grateful, and I have to say thank you for watching my video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these mangas or if you're going to. Next up, I'm going to talk about some of my own personal favorites, like my favorite manga or my favorite anime/light novel. So consider subscribing to my channel if you're interested or if you like this video, and as always, see you in the next one.
All right, there you go.
I know Donald Trump.
I don't care. Okay, so that's Armendez. I think I said that. Armendez. GG. Thank you. Bird shorts. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. GG. Okay, so with that said, we're gonna jump early out of here, guys. Have a great night, or so. I might be on later on tonight. So it might be a late night stream. Yeah, it was a pretty good video. Some of the stuff.
Love.
Yeah,
homie.
yeah. Let me see. All right, later, Roger. I appreciate it. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna probably be on later on tonight. I might do a late night stream. That'll be fun to do.
Good night, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you, Bri. Thank you, Gold. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Love every last one of you guys. Thank you for TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Trovo. If you guys like this video, please give a like on this video if possible. It will be put on YouTube. Each one will have their own section. So if you like the videos that we did, or you want to rewatch it or see it, you can go to YouTube or so. Also, follow me on Twitch, YouTube, Kick, TikTok, Trovo, and YouTube. I think I said that twice. So with that said, have a great night, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. Bye-bye. Doop, 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 doop.